so this is No Comment or Nova Talks, whatever you want to call it.
No comment.
Or Kio Nova or No Comment, mainly No Comment. All right, so today I have with me, introduce yourself, my man.
Gabriel Gray.
All right. Gray's your real last name?
It's my real last name.
That's a pretty cool last name.
Thank you.
Your parents really thought ahead of that.
Yeah, I could have been William Irvin Gray.
Are you gonna be like an actor or anything like that?
Nah.
Come on, you gotta be like an author or something.
Maybe. I might.
You can't waste that good name.
I got some stuff lined up.
Gabriel Gray,
yes,
GG.
Yes.
Good game.
Yes, sir.
All right. You have your own alternate like Instagram that you followed me on and liked my shit on.
I do.
And you also have your own podcast.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What don't you do is a real question.
I don't work. No, but it's funny because you had put out something very inspirational about just like, the grinding.
Yeah.
And just like, feeling that you're at your rock bottom and to just always, have that positive energy no matter what, just doing 150% of it.
Absolutely.
And you had mentioned that you were doing, was it DoorDash or Grubhub? DoorDash, yeah.
Grubhub, same thing.
I do Grubhub.
Nice.
It is actually something I thought about when you said that because, you would get an order, right? And then it gives you a certain amount of time to pick up the order and a certain amount of time to deliver it. And I always had this idea like, I want to be the best Grubhub. Like, I want them to get their food 20 minutes early.
That's what I'm saying.
That's always a great feeling when you order something. They tell you it's going to be there like 12:55 p.m.
Exactly.
And then it shows up at 12:30. You're like, oh,
Exactly.
Probably catch you off guard when you're like taking a deuce or like freaking in the shower or something like that. But, that's something I do right now. I do Grubhub. I work at a restaurant. I'm in between careers right now.
Okay.
I'm thinking that, something is going to line up in the near future. I just had an interview, so
nice.
Bless up.
Wow, good luck.
But yeah, so
anyway, right?
I try to keep my hand in as many pots as possible without stretching myself thin. So thank you for having me, man. This has been a long time happening. I feel
like it's been years because I when I see you at NYSC, which you don't go to anymore, your sports club. You're always talking to somebody, first of all. It's like you're a celebrity. I feel like you talk more than you work out. Jesus.
That's why I left.
Yeah. I feel like you're gonna meet people. It's like it's there's no way with you. You're gonna go to a new place. You're gonna meet new people.
A lot of townies.
Exactly. And but yeah, I feel like this was supposed to happen for a very, very long time.
Yes.
All right. But before we even get into any of that, please tell me about your podcast. What is it called? What do you talk about? How did you start it? All that fun stuff.
So the Woke Fast podcast, which you can get on Anchor, which I don't know if you heard, but Anchor.
I know Anchor. Is that the thing where you basically do your podcast on the phone?
Exactly.
Yeah. I ran into an issue with that though.
What issue?
I don't remember because it was like a year ago or 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Something. Either I couldn't record like a long podcast. Mm-hmm. Is that the thing where you could call them and it puts you into a thing? Like I remember Anchor was where I just literally called somebody up, and when I called them, as soon as they pick up the phone, it started the podcast,
yes,
right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
that, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there was a reason as to why I stopped using it, because I thought that was the best thing ever. I was like, I don't need anything.
Right.
I could literally just call up people that would never want to come over, and then just do it right there.
Yeah. So my mom has always said to me, she said, you need to think about doing something on the radio, and I always used to get that, especially when I used to work in the restaurant back in the day, and it was usually from older people.
Yeah.
Because they grew up with the medium of radio.
Exactly, and listening.
As their entertainment before, we had television and internet. And older people would always be like, your voice is so nice, you should be on the radio. And I thought about that, and I never had, the avenues to get onto, radio or anything like that. But podcasting has always been something that intrigued me. And so when I found about the Anchor podcast, I think I found it on Instagram or something.
Yeah.
I downloaded it immediately and I started recording. The thing is, when I first recorded, it was like 2 years ago.
Right.
The app wasn't as
stabilized and all that stuff. Yeah.
So they've ironed out a lot of kinks, a lot of bugs. I saw a video, maybe a month ago, where they now allow you to monetize your podcast.
Yeah. You're talking about with Anchor specifically,
with
or
Anchor
just in
specifically,
general?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
You can get sponsors, and you just do your 30-second thing about the sponsor. How you usually see that on YouTube videos. Go to SeatGeek, use my code. And they also just recently they got bought by Spotify.
Oh, that's big. Yeah. That's big.
And what's going to happen is Spotify is going to start distributing Anchor podcasts, and they're also going to be creating their own podcasting, having that be through Anchor. So that was really cool. The only thing about Anchor for me is that people like the face-to-face interaction, like what we're doing right now. And unfortunately, the people that I was podcasting with, they were both in like Pennsylvania.
Yeah, so you have to call them up.
Right, exactly. And sometimes the quality of it wasn't the greatest.
Yeah.
Because you are doing it from your phone, so there's some things that lack on with that. But I haven't done the podcast probably for like a good 6 months now.
Can you edit on there though? Like you can
edit,
trim and all that stuff.
You can edit. So what happens is you can take Anchor, upload it on your laptop. Do it from there. Okay. You go to the website or whatnot, your profile on the website, and you could do it through there. You can add music. That's what I liked about it.
That's pretty cool. Music, yeah. It's really cool that it's like in the 60s and 70s, radio was huge, right? And then you would think that like when entertainment business kind of brought in TVs and all this stuff, it would die out. But then they came back with podcasts. Yeah. It's like, it's kind of surprising that people went right back to wanting to listen to people. Right. But it's just a lot more, accessible and stuff like that.
I just like the fact that you just you can find any topic. Like, how usually same with radio stations. You go to the Christian radio station, you go to rock radio station, you go to rap, you go to the top 40, old school, whatever. It's the same thing with topics now where you can find out about, aliens and conspiracy theories, and you can find out about cooking, you can find out about hip hop or social justice topics, and it's just we're in that culture right now where it's about like instant gratification and people want the information and want that at their fingertips, and podcasting allows people to do that, which I think is fantastic. I'm a huge fan of it. I like this setup right here, where we got like the camera, we got the mics.
People don't know, but the behind the scenes is a lot more. It's not as colorful and nice as it is right here. I had to hand pick where I put everything for this screen to come about. Because that thing is bouncing right now on boxes and a suitcase at the bottom. By the way.
Hey, making it work, man.
You gotta make it work.
I love it.
So is podcasting something you're gonna do in the future? Something that's always gonna be there?
Probably.
I'm trying to, no matter what job I get, my ultimate career is podcasting or entertainment, like YouTube podcasting, stuff like that, because I've seen so many people make something out of it. Right? And it's something that I love. I want to do something that I love as a career. What about you? What is one thing that you want to be doing in your lifetime?
I think this is a really cool hobby. For this hobby to turn into like a career, that would be great. But there is a lot of competition out there. Absolutely. There's just so much between just obviously we both are fans of Joe Rogan, for instance. His podcast is
you got Joe Rogan, you got Charlemagne with his own thing.
Right, exactly.
All these different people.
So many people. You got fantasy football guys. You have just current issues. So many things. I think Nick Cannon. Do you see Nick Cannon?
Nick Cannon has a podcast.
He has his thing. So it's to go from just us regular guys to
competing with those guys.
It's challenging.
It's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. So right now, I like it as a hobby. If it turns into something more,
I feel like if you so I think my biggest issue with that, and what I feel like would probably hinder me from being able to compete with those guys, is that I want to do everything, but you just need to specialize in something. If you specialize in only rock music, media, then all the rock fans are going to go there and they're going to be like, okay, Gabe is that guy for rock music, or Gabe is that guy for social issues within this sector. Boom, and then they go to you. But me, I just want to fucking dabble in everything. I want to talk about everything.
And I think that's fair.
It's fair. I mean, I don't specialize when I have a conversation, just one thing. I don't only talk about one thing, right? But yeah. So what else you got? You got I just realized when I was on your Instagram, you're into EDM now. I don't think I would ever look at you as a person and be like, yes, I would see him at a rave.
Right.
So how did that come about?
So I grew up in Germany, born there, and I lived there till I was about 9.
Well, you grew up in Germany.
Yeah, my parents were in the military. In the 80s, the Cold War, and because of the Cold War, a lot of Americans were overseas because of just, East Berlin, West Berlin, Russians versus Americans, blah, blah, blah. And so with that being said, my parents, my dad will listen to everything from Jimi Hendrix, Phil Collins, and my mom will listen to everything from Anita Baker, Michael Jackson. And then, you're in Germany, so obviously, between television and radio, you're getting exposed to so much music. So I definitely was exposed to, probably more than I realized at a younger age. And so, when I come to the States and I'm listening to music now, probably in middle school, I was probably into stuff like Ace of Base, which is like, if you know who Ace of Base is.
I do not know. I don't.
If you know who Ace of Base is.
What's the genre though? What's the genre?
It's like, I guess it's like techno.
Oh, okay.
And it's just like, it's kind of corny, but like it's also nostalgic because they only were like around at that time. But then fast forward, I get into high school and like hip hop's taken off.
Yeah.
You know, so like, you know, middle school was like Wu-Tang Clan was blowing up, but I wasn't really into it, but like I knew of it thanks to like MTV and BET. But then I got into Nas in 8th grade, and then I got into Outkast in 9th grade.
Okay.
And then shortly thereafter, I got into Biggie, and then when I was an adult, I got into Tupac, because of his social commentary.
Yeah.
So I always was into music, and obviously Michael Jackson and Prince, and you know all the greats, even Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
And then college, it continuously evolved, and then like, you know, hip hop was mainstream at this point. At least it mainstream in like the 2000s with Ludacris and Nelly, and freaking, you know, Master P, Mr. Cool, and all those cats. You know, Eminem. But you know, I was also into Linkin Park. I was also into.
So we're talking about like this era right now when you were in college was like 2000 to like 2005.
Exactly.
Because when you're saying Linkin Park, this is Hybrid Theory. This is Marshall Mathers LP. All that stuff. Okay.
Exactly. Eminem Show.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of. I mean, this was when, you know, Jay-Z was on top of his game.
Yeah.
Blueprint. Rock La Familia.
Yeah.
Beanie Sigel Freeway. Yeah. Shout out to Freeway. Go through that surgery, bro. I saw you on the gram. Let's do it.
Too young Freeway. For this. Too young. I missed that mark.
Right?
Yeah. It sucks that I'm so late on hip hop. It makes me so mad.
No.
It makes me so mad.
But that's the point I was going to make, that I was into hip hop because that was the mainstream. It was just like, you know, in the 90s, like it wasn't that mainstream unless like, you know, you just went and sought it and you got
searched for it.
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Now it's everywhere. But around in that time, I still listened to a little bit of everything. So like, you know, thanks to my sister, she really was like the more alternative music type of girl. She loved the Spice Girls and NSYNC, the Backstreet Boys.
Yeah.
But then she also liked, you know, European, you know, techno music.
Wow.
And because of my connection, you know, with Europe, I have family over there, so on and so forth. I was always open to it. And around, I think one of the beginning of 2010s is when EDM started to take off like crazy. Like I want to say like 2011. Like you had
with who?
Usher. Remember Usher with the song produced by Diplo? All right, like Chris Brown. Remember Chris Brown? Beautiful People.
Oh yeah.
Like Beautiful People.
And that was
Usher.
2010-ish.
Yeah.
Sort of like famous.
Usher had that one song. What was that
shit.
song? Usher or Diplo? I'm gonna tell you right now. It was a good song. Climax. Ooh,
that was with Diplo?
That Diplo produced that, yeah.
That was a huge song.
Yeah, exactly. Skrillex.
Yeah, Skrillex, I remember that.
I'm still a Skrillex head because what Skrillex did was Skrillex was dope. He always been into music as a kid. Like, Sonny was just like all about his music. And he was in a couple of bands, and then he just like broke away from the bands. He started doing his own thing, and then he just took over like the American dubstep scene. And so dubstep died like 2014, 2015. But then he started to evolve into hip hop. He started doing production
with A$AP Rocky. I remember that.
A$AP Rocky, Wild for the Night. He did Purple Lamborghini with Rick Ross.
Yep.
He did El Chapo with The Game.
And then he just recently did a remix with Travis Scott.
Yeah, Sicko Mode. Oh, jump rope to that joint. Oh my god, bro.
It's so weird because we're the opposite. Like when I listened to it, I was like, I like Sicko Mode though. Why did he do this to me? And I'm an open book, like I'm an open-minded person, but I just couldn't get to that. I feel like Skrillex is a little too much for me.
Okay.
Because when I think of, you wouldn't. I don't think you could ever catch me at like an Izu or anything like that.
Yeah.
The only house would you consider that house?
Well, house is underneath EDM. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. EDM is like a huge label with just basically electronic dance music.
And then house is like
techno,
a subgenre
dubstep,
of that.
Deep house, trance, like they're
So what is deep house? Is Disclosure deep house? Because that's the type of stuff I'm into. I like Disclosure.
I feel like they're new house because it kind of has like a little bit of a disco in it.
Anything that makes me want to fucking dance, I'm all for it. And Disclosure makes me want to dance, and that's all it is.
I saw Disclosure in concert. That was really fun.
Dude, I went to I don't know if it was going into 2017. It was for the New Year's Eve party. It was in Brooklyn. oh my God, this shit changed my life. And I swear to, like, my friends were like, yo, we're going to a Disclosure concert. They're all hyped, right?
Nice.
I'm like, you know, I know The Latch, you know, I know Omen, right? You know, Sam Smith and stuff. I was like, yeah, I don't know, guys. Like, you know, I'll come with you guys because I have nothing else better to do. I'd probably hang out with my parents. Shit, I should probably just hang out with my parents. They're like, no, you're coming. I went, and I think I still have videos of my Snapchat from that night.
What venue was it?
Fucking amazing. I don't know if it was Terminal 5.
Okay.
I don't know if it was
Terminal 5 is in Manhattan. You said Brooklyn, right?
Is Terminal 5 in Manhattan?
Yeah.
I thought it was in Brooklyn. Whatever. But this venue was in Brooklyn. And it was a pretty big venue.
Okay.
Big warehouse.
Okay.
There was a VIP, all of that stuff. So
Nice.
VIP was really good because I wasn't like scrunched into this concert scene where I was like, you know, couldn't move. So I could dance and all. Do that music, because the first song that played, right? And I still don't know to this day. I don't know if I took ecstasy or Molly. Because my friends told me they gave me Molly, but no.
This is the same thing.
It's the same shit.
It's MDMA.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I was on that shit for like 8 hours straight, just dancing my ass off.
Yeah.
I wish I could shuffle. I would have danced my ass off. But when a fire starts to burn came out. And I was like, you know, they're like, when a fire starts to burn.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is hot. And then the beat, I was like, that was funny. Oh my God, I wanted to cry because I was like, this is amazing. And I don't know if it was because of the MDA, but I went around. This is the funny shit, and I know you're gonna laugh to this. I went around to different groups just dancing with them, and they were gravitating towards me because I just had this energy because I was just having a good time. I didn't care about anybody around me. I was dancing. I was doing some weird dance moves. I didn't care. I was having a good time. Dude, I was so high on that shit, the MDA, whatever I had, that I went up to, I had so much confidence. Oh my God, I was like 20 out of 10 on confidence. I went up to 2 Spanish girls who didn't even speak English, and I was trying to hit on them, and I was like, damn, baby, you so fine, like, let's dance, right? And they were like, right? And I was just like, I don't know what you're saying, but you sexy, like, let's dance right now. And then they just kind of like brushed me off.
You said bailar.
Yeah, they were just
bailar
like,
conmigo.
but the fact that I got that confidence to go and even talk to 2 Spanish girls, I would probably say some bullshit like, no, baby, yo soy Dominicano. I know. You know, some stupid shit. But
they are deep house, by the way. You are correct.
Is that what it is? Deep house.
Deep house. Yeah.
Deep house changed my life, man. I love that.
Yeah.
I love it.
I love it. So and okay. So with that being said, also because my parents grew up in the 70s and 80s, house music was a thing back then.
Is that when it started emerging or no?
Well, yeah, basically for the most part. Like my sister sent me an article on Twitter about like I want to say almost like a year ago, and it talked about how house was created by gays, specifically black gay or minority gay men, and now it's being ran by white straight men in these record executive companies.
The audacity of the CAUCASITY.
Right, exactly. I just like that, right?
So we taking everything.
Everything. Cultural appropriation.
They took rock from us.
Everything.
They took everything.
And now it's, but so like, so I can remember specifically on Sundays, for instance, like my mom cleaning up, and like, yes, we listened to gospel music, but then also she could put on the house music, and it was really just like this upbeat music that just kept you wanting to not only dance but also clean and vacuum, and you know, it just kept you motivated. So one of my favorite artists of all time, I've seen them probably like I can count on one hand at least, is Bonobo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Never heard of him.
Bonobo. Oh my. Bonobo is cool because what he does is he takes music, and it sounds like his early stuff sounds like French elevator music with like a cool little I
like that, something groovy.
Right. It's groovy. Exactly. That's a great word to describe it. But as he's been out for over 20 years, almost 20 years now.
Yeah.
Making music, and he's involved, and it has gone to like housey.
Yeah.
And then it's gone to like world music almost.
Okay.
Because like he has music with like these guys from Africa, and there's like some African like roots in it, but then he'll drop a nice little house beat over it, like boom, 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 boom.
Oh, that's hot. Okay.
Boom, boom, boom.
On an African beat. That's hot.
Boom, boom. Like it's like, and it's cool. It's crazy. And it's also like very like that's also music I can study to.
Yeah.
His music. It's music I could dance to. I could clean to.
Yeah,
I can have in the background when I'm talking to people, hosting people. It's a really cool genre. So with that being said, I remember I was listening to it one day, or I came to my mom's house one day to do laundry, and I heard her playing Bonobo. I was like, Mom, what do you know about Bonobo? She's like, oh, baby, this is house, baby. This is house music from. I was like, Mom, this is not house music from. She's like, no, it is. This is the same like count, the same rhythm, same beat per BPMs. That she's been dancing to. And one of my mentors from my old job, he's from the Bronx. or Brooklyn, but he spent a lot of time in the Bronx. My mom is from the Bronx. And we talked music as well because he's really into music and he also DJs. And so he was like, your mom's from the Bronx? I was like, yeah. He was like, ask her about the garage. I'm like, what? He's like, she'll know, the garage. And I asked my mom, I texted my mom, I was like, Mom, what do you know about the garage? She was like, oh, that used to be the spot when I was your age. Like, I used to go out there every Friday, Saturday night, giant warehouse, kind of like we described in Brooklyn. And like parties would last from like 8 p.m. to like 8 a.m. Like, it was just like, and it was just like a bunch of house music. So, you know, when it comes to music, like I love Disclosure because it reminds me of that. It brings back those roots of just like that house music stuff. I used to actually, this was stuff I would listen to, like a lot of the techno and EDM music. A lot of it came from house, which is why I love Kanye, because Kanye in his early music, and every now and again he'll put in Chicago house music came out of Chicago, and then like it spread to Detroit and spread to like New York, and it went to like Los Angeles, you know, Dallas, and like everybody now has their own little, you know, breakdown.
Give me an example. Would that be like Fade?
Yeah.
Like
yeah. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. Exactly. He had another song on My Beautiful Dark Fantasy, and it was at the end. I forgot the name of the song.
Shit.
And I'll tell you right now. It was like the last song, and it was definitely...
The last song was Who Will Survive in America.
I think that, yeah.
Like, who will survive in America? Who will survive in America? Huh.
Yeah, and he had Gil Scott-Heron, who apparently, when I was in college, one of my sociology professors told me, he pulled me into his office one day because I was on the Student Entertainment Council, and I was part of the concert chair, and we were bringing the concert for the school that year. And we have to be completely tight-lipped about who the concert is because you don't want to get leaked. He pulled me in. He asked me. He was like, "So, who's the concert this year?" I was like, "I can't tell you, Dr. Truth. I can't tell you." He was like, "I know, but I thought I'd get a little heads up." And he was definitely like, you could tell like back in the day, he was going to like Grateful Dead and like bunch of like concerts.
Yeah.
But then he's like, you know what? Do you know what the first hip hop record was? I was like, what? No, what, like Curtis Blow, like African Bombard, like Cool J? He's like, no. It's like in the 60s, Gil Scott-Heron, The Revolution Will Not Be Televised. And he pulls it up, and it's basically this man just like spitting poetry over like these congas. And it was like really like on some like, early hip hop, like if it were to be hip hop now, it would probably be like, it would be some J. Cole shit. You feel me?
Okay, all right.
What I mean? But like spoken word, like, it's just like, it's not over some trap beats and hi-hats and stuff like that. And he was on Who Will Survive in America. He's basically saying, but that beat was definitely a house beat.
Yeah.
So I love house music. House music is considered EDM, but it's just fun. Like going to see Disclosure in New York City, I'm pretty sure it's Terminal 5. Vic Mensa opened for them, by the way.
That's amazing.
This is in 2015 when like not a lot of people knew who he was. And he also brought out Mary J. Blige because she was on one of the songs on their first album. It was like a giant house party. And they had these, their faces, the Disclosure faces in the background. They were singing to the song.
That's hot.
That was crazy. It was like, like how you like have like if you have like lights in your basement to sync to your music or whatever. It was like that, but like they were mouthing the words. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do like EDM, and I do like, for working out, like I listen to like dubstep. I listen to some hard shit.
But nowadays in your Izus and what's the other really big one?
There's Izu and Ultra in Miami.
Ultra.
Yeah.
So like with those, it's like, so when I went to Philly, I don't know what it was. Mad Block Party. I don't think it was that. It was something else.
Oh,
is it that?
The Roots Block Party? Was it the Roots?
No, it wasn't the Roots, but Diplo was the headliner for it.
Yeah.
And it was bullshit, man. They had like Matt Ox, like that little 13-year-old kid on that, and he was headlining for one song. It was bullshit. But I mean, like, I don't know, man. I like at first I really liked it because I was on, Molly and all that. But then like, and then it rained, and then like the Molly wore off, and then it was just and then Diplo didn't even come on yet, so I'm like, I'm tired of this. And then Diplo came on, it was just continuously like just like the fist bumping music. Yeah. I just couldn't do it because this didn't make me want to dance. It just made me want to like go up and down.
Yeah.
And I did that for like 3 hours now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Ankles hurting.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm wet and shit.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm just trying to find that Disclosure, the Disclosure shit. If I could find a song, if I could find an entire group or an entire concert every Friday, Saturday, Sunday that played shit like When a Fire Starts to Burn or Voices or White Noise, all that stuff from Disclosure albums, I will be there every single day. I will spend all my money on my credit card to go there and have a good time, because that's the type of shit I want to be on, because it's motivating, and the people around you, they have the same energy. They're giving off all this good energy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the type of shit I want to be on. I love that.
You would like. There's a lot of good artists that are out there now. Like as soon as you said you would like something like that, because Disclosure, obviously, that album that we were talking about. I think it was called Disclosure.
Settle.
Oh, Settle. Yes. They evolved, obviously, but there's still artists that do something that is similar. And one of those artists that I like is Rufus Du Sol.
Okay.
Rufus Du Sol is dope. He's dope.
I feel like I have a song by him.
Probably.
I feel like I have a song by him.
His biggest song, I think, was Inner Bloom. Then it was a really cool remix.
I definitely have a song. I'm gonna have to look that up. See, this is what sucks about having my iPhone take the video, because I looking through all my music and stuff. Damn. Okay.
Yeah, Treat You Better is actually pretty good. He just.
I know I have one because I remember that name. RUFUS.
Yeah.
DE.
DU. Yeah.
And then, I had like one song. If it's not like a feature or something like that.
Philly, August 6th.
Oh, he's gonna be there.
Yeah. But also Kate Trinata. I like Kate Trinata. I love
Kate Trinata.
Yeah.
But he hasn't put out an album yet though. He has the singles with like Ty Dolla $ign and stuff.
Right, exactly.
99.9 is amazing.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Then there was like a remix album that like a lot of people sang on a lot of his stuff that he did.
Oh, probably on his SoundCloud and stuff.
Maybe.
Yeah.
There was
but like a song, All That, I think.
Kate Trinata, Rufus Du Sol. Like if I like any artist that if they can put out an album and then you also can see them DJing their music and other people's music and enjoy it, I'm a fan of that.
And that's what Kate Trinata does. He takes other people's music and remixes it to his own style.
Right. You'll see him like do Boiler Room sets.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Bonobo does that too. So I went to go see Bonobo for my birthday 2 years ago, and I hadn't seen him in forever, and I hadn't been to Brooklyn for like probably like over 10 years, like before the gentrification and everything.
Yeah.
When Brooklyn was like not cool to go to, I went there, ironically for an acting job.
Oh wow.
And that job didn't happen. He was like, okay, you guys can go home. So we like went on and played soccer in Brooklyn. It was so random. But fast forward like 10 years later, I go to Brooklyn to see him at Output.
This is Rufus.
This is Bonobo.
Bonobo, sorry.
Bonobo.
Okay.
And it was like it was like a disco.
Okay.
Like literally the music was like from the 70s and 80s, and it was funky, and it was like, and then like he would put in some of his music from all of his albums, including the current album, which hadn't yet to come out. It was going to come out in like 2 weeks. Because he started playing this one song, and me and this dude were like, yo!
Yeah, this shit hot, but we don't know what it is.
Yeah. So Shazam.
Yeah. Nothing came up.
No, it did come up.
Oh,
but like you couldn't find it on Spotify. Like you try to like link it to your Spotify, your Apple Music, and it's like, song is not available. It's like, but you're going to let me see the name of it and you tell me it's not available? That's crazy. But the song was so dope. And if you like Disclosure, you'll like Bonobo, just because it's just like really cool, and then his videos are really visually amazing. His artwork is amazing. Like his artwork is always something like super like nature, but like obscure and abstract. You're like, whoa, what am I looking? Like you can probably get lost in that if you were like tripping on something.
So it's like Kate Trinata shit. Like
exactly. Yeah,
something like that, but with nature involved and all that stuff.
I'm gonna play for you. The
I like
song
shit
that
like that,
played.
man. I love Kate Trinata. I wish I could find more people like Kate Trinata.
This is the song he played. Play. Exclusive. Dropping it right now. So he mixed this song in with another song perfectly, and being some random guy, and that's why I like what you said about like the vibes when you're at a place and you're vibing with somebody. Random guy. We knew that we love Bonobo and we love music. Yeah. And we're just like, we both stopped and like, what is this? Yeah. We're like, whoa, like some random white dude from Brooklyn. Like, he could have been from Wisconsin for all I know.
Yeah. I like this.
And his build-ups are crazy.
But this isn't build-ups like dubstep shit, right?
No. Okay, but it's still like it crescendos to like a point where you're like, what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So we heard this.
I like this, yeah.
And then the video is crazy. The video, it's like, it's a camera that's moving through an apartment, but it's one room, and it's like a Japanese apartment, so it's like everything is in one room. And like it keeps on going, and the guy, it's the same guy. And he's doing like different things as you go through the doors. Like it's the same guy, but he's doing something different. Like he's eating or he's like sleeping.
That's pretty cool.
And then like the room is like the perspective of it is like the room is getting smaller and smaller, and the guy's the same size. So he at the end, the guy's like this, like in the room eating, and then the camera pulls out, and then like he starts to notice the camera, he starts going towards it, and
it's like some trippy shit.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Yo, you know what's crazy? A lot of people like when they go to these like these huge raves and like Isu things, like they are tripping on all types of shit, dude. It's not just Molly, but Molly is like universally like
right.
It's like it's so. Is that like a thing where everybody has to be on that? It's like part of the culture now.
So,
because it's like you can't. It's like you could go without any drugs, but like when you do, it's like you feel left out because all these people are on something.
Yeah. So I went to Izu when I think the last time not the last time, maybe the second to last time before they moved it just to Vegas, and it was in Giant Stadium.
Okay.
And at that time I was doing nothing. I wasn't drinking, I wasn't smoking, I wasn't doing anything. I was just working out. This is at the time I was going to New York Sports Club, and I was just like, gotta stay in the gym, gotta stay healthy, and I remember being there because I wanted to see a couple of people. Nero and Calvin Harris were one of them, and I remember, because at the time I was working at the high school, and I remember I was seeing kids like my high school students' ages coming up to me asking me if I had any drugs or if I wanted drugs.
Yeah.
And that was just like, that killed me. I was like, bro, like what? Like I want to enjoy the music. And I don't want to think about like some 16-year-old kid or 19-year-old kid, rolling or asking me if I want to do some stuff. And I was just like, I forgot that this is that part of that culture.
Exactly.
It's the music, and music and drugs go hand in hand. It's real crazy, and some of it is for for creative purposes. A lot of it is for recreational purposes.
Right.
And so that was my first experience when I started going to like EDM concerts. I was like, fuck, I forgot about this. Fast forward to this past September, and I went to go see St. Lucia, which is not EDM at all. They're like more like rock, but they're like pop rock. They're fun rock.
Wait, lower that a little bit. I feel like it's going to interfere with your.
And
your
so basically, I remember going there, and I got the tickets for my sister, and we got VIP too.
Yeah.
Because she liked them, and it was her birthday. And so we go there, and like the guy just starts jamming and everything, and like these people just start to, as you say, like you're out there, you're grooving, you're filling in, people just gravitate towards you.
Yeah.
And the guy, he like opens up like some, foil, and it looks like dark chocolate. He's like, dude, you want some? I'm like, what is that? Why are you offering me dark chocolate? I'm a grown ass man. Like, how dare you offer me chocolate? What kind of is it? 75% cacao? Is it good for the heart? Antioxidants. He's like, dude, it's mushrooms, man. This is an adult. This is a grown man. Like, you can tell he's in like his late 20s, 30s. Might have been in his 40s for all I know.
Yeah.
He was with two really dope chicks. And I'm like, maybe I should do some mushrooms. But, so, with that being said, I've had my explorations with drugs, psychedelics, weed and, Molly and, all that stuff. And, that was cool for me, but that's not my experience now. So when now that, fast forward like 4 years later, I know that that's part of the culture. I know that that's part of, it goes hand in hand. It's part of the experience. And I'm okay with that because, my first time doing Molly was at an EDM concert. It was Bass Nectar and Pretty Lights. It was Bass Lights. And that was for my 30th birthday. That was 6 years ago. And it was in Virginia. Took a road trip down there with some friends. And I had family down there. So, it was a little bit of both, friends and family. And my experience with Molly at that time was I just wanted to dance. Absolutely. Like there was like an unending energy. Like just pulled from some crazy source. And I didn't think there was anything bad with it. And like Joe Rogan talks about this, he says that, MDMA has some therapeutic qualities to it, especially for people with PTSD.
Right.
And they're doing studies. He keeps on saying MAPS, which is like an organization that champions and advocates for those type of, studies. So I see the benefits of it. I just also see, those headlines of like Izu a couple years ago. I don't know if anything happened, but like kids dying,
ODing on it, or
ODing
because it has a crazy come down too the next day.
Yeah.
But because it's all like it's anything with physics, right? Anything that goes up has to come down.
Absolutely.
So you go up that high on what is it, like serotonin or dopamine levels or anything, like you're gonna
just
crash like
overload
crazy.
Your brain. Yeah.
And like I could see a lot of people going on depression on it the next day and stuff like that. But yeah, dude, it's not even that it makes you want to dance. It just makes you want to fucking move.
Yeah.
Like you just don't want to stay in one spot.
Yeah.
Jump up and down, whatever you need to do, but you just need that music, and then you're all for it.
Right. Exactly.
So in that case, yeah, I feel like I could get into EDM. It's just that. You know me. So far it's like Bonobo, and Rufus and Disclosure and K-Tronada and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But my first experience with Molly fucking sucked because I was going to K-Tronada in Brooklyn.
Oh.
This is like 2016, I think. Freezing cold outside, like at least like 15 degrees outside, and it was so poorly planned because we're standing in line. I'm with my friend. We're standing in line. It's freezing cold, and the doors are open. It's supposed to open at like 8 o'clock or something like that. And the doors open. So he said, "Look, you don't need to buy your ticket online, so you could buy it at the door."
Okay.
I was like, "All right, cool." So we go there, and the doors finally open at 8 o'clock, and it looks like we're about to move. He was like, "Yo, pop this shit," and I popped it. And then they were like, listen, we're going to let all the VIP, like people who already have tickets, go in first. But what happened was they already let the people in front of us. They made a separate line, which took like 10 minutes. They let them go in, and then they were like, we got to wait for whoever else can come. So it's like, how do we know that all the VIP people are going to show up? Like, can we just go inside and wait?
Right.
Eventually, K-Tronada showed up at like 12 o'clock.
So
it's like I'm standing there for 4 hours. I didn't even make it to 4 hours. I made it to 11. I waited for 3 hours.
Inside or outside?
Outside. The Molly kicked in. Literally, it kicked, and I felt like my feet just like lost. I feel like gravity just like cut in half. I lifted about 15 feet. I felt like I was levitating. I was like, bro, I'm in it, bro. Let's do this. Like, it's like I was like playing. I had an AirPod in my ear, so I'm like playing one in my ear and shit. Nice. And I'm like, yo, like let's go, baby. Right. And then and the shit crashed right in the same line. I'm sitting in the same spot. The shit just comes right down.
Really?
And I'm just pissed off. And I'm just like, all right, so this sucks.
Yeah.
And then next time I showed up to K-Tronada was like a year later at Afropunk.
Okay.
Afropunk is a vibe too.
I wanted to go to
Afropunk is a vibe.
Is that the same year that
beautiful
Jaden
women,
was there?
beautiful music.
Yeah.
You get Tyler the Creator showing up sometimes.
Yeah.
You get SZA.
Yeah.
Just everybody.
Yeah.
It's my spot, man.
Was that the year that Sampha was there too? It was like Sampha, K-Tronada, not Jaden Smith. Sampha, K-Tronada, SZA, I think, was there that year. Was this like 2 years ago?
This was 2 years ago.
Yeah,
All I know is K-Tronada, the biggest two at the time, and it sucked because they played at the same time, was Anderson .Paak and then K-Tronada. So I'm sitting there like, I've never been to K-Tronada, and at the time I wasn't really into Anderson .Paak.
Right.
I fucking love him now.
Yeah.
But I went to K-Tronada, and then luckily, one of the songs they have together on 99.9, he showed up, and then I was like, all right, cool, I got the best of both worlds.
Nice.
And it was cool, but still never had that. I still haven't fulfilled my fantasy of just freaking having the best rolling and listening to K-Tronada and dancing my ass off like I did with Disclosure.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm never going to get that moment again.
Damn, you don't want to see Tame Impala live then, bro.
Oh my god, dude! It was I don't know if it's this April or was it last April. I'm like losing my memory. But Tame Impala was supposed to play in California. The flight ticket was like $500.
Okay.
Going to him was like $200. I was like, fuck it, I'm going. I want to go. I hit up my friends on the group chat. I was like, guys, I don't know about you guys. I'm just putting it out there because I want to be a nice friend. If you say no, I don't care. I'm still going.
Still going.
Tame
I don't
Impala
need
is
you.
playing in California right now, Santa Monica, and I'm going. They're like, yeah, listen, bro, like, yeah, we're not gonna do that. And I'm like, all right, then, well, I'll go by myself.
Did you go?
I didn't know. I have it right here.
Okay.
To vicariously live through it. But that's one of those things. Like, that's another one. I just want to listen to Tame Impala.
I saw them
just once.
I saw them live at Governor's Ball, and that was right.
You know what's crazy? It's not even them. It's just him.
Yeah.
It's just Kevin Parker.
Well, it's him. Yeah, I told you that.
And then people just play the music for him. And play the instruments for him.
Pond. I told you that.
Yeah. I started
is his live band, but like when he's making music, he's Kevin Parker is Tame Impala in the studio, but when he's on touring live, it's Kevin Parker with
helping
Pond.
Him out.
And
that's incredible.
It's great. Like it's just like this at this time, this was like the second day of Governor's Ball in 2015, and they were like early too. They were like at maybe like 3. I remember it because it was like in the middle of it being hot.
Yeah.
On a June day, the day before it rained.
Yeah.
So there's still puddles of water that are evaporating, and I just remember that. And they had like the little crazy like visuals on the background, and it wasn't nothing out of like control. It was just like a laser light show background.
Yeah.
And they sound just as good in person than they did on the record. And it was fun. It was really cool. I was there. I think we were there just talking to people, and like there's this girl who's in a PhD program in Canada or something. She came down just because she loves them.
Yeah.
I love those. I love meeting people and talk like, so why are you who are you here to see? Oh, we're here to see Tame Impala. I'm in my PhD program. I got a little break. Blah blah blah. And I'm like, damn, that's dope.
Hell yeah.
And I think I met another dude from Canada. It was like crazy Canadians coming down to see Tame Impala, but they were really fun, and you would definitely like them. I think that was that one time I saw them. It was right before this album came out, but they still dropped a couple of singles before, so you knew what songs to look for. What's the song?
Shit. Let It Happen?
Let It Happen, yes. That was the first song they played. We're like, what? That was the first song they played. I was like, yo, you just gonna let it happen? But a really cool song is the album Lonerism is really good.
Lonerism
is really good because
I think I have Lonerism.
I think I'm going backwards. I think it's on them.
Stack right there.
I feel like we're going backwards. He has a nice little collection over here, by the way, folks.
Yeah, you guys can't see it. Check it out, man. So the only thing that sucks about about freaking records is that they're so goddamn expensive.
How much are these?
This one was probably like $25.
And this is just the whole. Is this the whole album?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Open it. Let me see. Look in the front.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's
it's the whole thing,
front
right?
and back.
Yeah. It's the whole thing. It's stupid though, because this thing just fucking fell behind, and I was like, does it not come with anything else inside? This one is really cool because it has some really cool posters inside.
Oh wow, that's cool.
This is probably my favorite one. I got Miles Davis. So when I'm in my zone, and I sit over there, you guys can't see it, but I have a little cocoon over there. I sit inside of that and just listen. Look at that.
Yes.
He has the coolest ones.
Yes. Such a good album.
Yeah.
Enders Toi. Oh, Enders Toi?
Yeah.
That song is crazy.
It's really cool.
I feel like we're only going backwards.
I got Leon Bridges. I haven't really listened to Leon Bridges.
Leon Bridges is good.
Yeah.
He's
so I got
really
this.
good.
It was between this and their latest album, Hive Mind.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna get that, but then I was like, I've never really fully listened to this, so I'm gonna get this. This album is slept on. This album is fucking amazing.
That's the homegirl, Colombian shorty, right?
Yes.
What's her name?
Caliuchis.
Dude,
yeah. It's really good. It's really
she
good.
She has that song Bootsy Collins on that, right?
The song called Bootsy Collins?
There's a song with the artist Bootsy Collins.
Probably. She's worked with She's worked with Tame Impala on this thing.
Is it? Really?
She has a song. It's called Tomorrow. She worked with Tame Impala on it, and it sounds like Tame Impala. And then
there's a song on here with Bootsy Collins and Snoop Dogg, right? Or is it Tyler the Creator? She has a song with Tyler.
Oh
the
yeah,
Creator.
After the Storm.
After the Storm.
That's one of the
Bootsy
last
Collins
songs.
was on there. Bootsy Collins was like part of the Funkadelic in the '70s.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, it's really cool
He's
that she worked with. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Ooh.
She's my favorite female artist of all time.
Ooh.
So I had to get. My friend got me this one. So we're doing this thing where we all collect vinyls and stuff. He has like 80 vinyl. He has 80 records though. Nice. And my other friend and I, we started collecting them. So he knows I love her. I bought him Nothing Was the Same by Drake. But I found out later on when I bought it that they don't have an official version. So I bought him like a bootleg one.
Oh, really? But it was vinyl?
It looks mad legit though. It looks super legit. It's just that it was an unofficial version because he never came out with that.
I gotta listen to this album again.
He got me this. Yeah.
Oh, Mad Lib is all over this.
Yeah, dude. And then
Kareem Higgins.
But my favorite from her, if I had to pick one,
Telephone. Ugh.
I love Telephone. My favorite album would probably be New America Part 2. This is Part 1. And then I also love.
Is that the one with Hello? Hello?
No, that's but you can't use my.
Oh yeah, the mixtape she dropped.
That's an amazing mixtape.
She did that for her kids because they love Drake.
Yeah. And there's a guy. I think her son.
Yeah.
He's the feature, and he sounds just like Drake. It's
really
funny. Yeah.
I didn't know.
It's in one of the songs. But shit, I'm forgetting. It's with the songs On and Apple Tree, and Baduism. That's my favorite.
Oh yeah.
Baduism.
That was her first one, her debut. Oh my.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting time. music-wise, because you had Erykah Badu.
Yep.
You had Lauryn Hill. You
Yes.
had Maxwell.
Yes.
You had D'Angelo.
Yes.
You had Macy Gray.
Yes.
You had a really eclectic group of R&B artists that were just dropping really dope music, and they all. Who's the girl that freaking D'Angelo was dating at the time, and he kind of made her go a little crazy when they broke up. Oh my God! But she was part of that group. She was part of that group too.
Yeah.
And like, but Erykah Badu, she's probably had the most staying power. I mean, granted, she also was dating Common and Andre 3000 and Jay Electronica, who, by the way, if you never listened to Jay Electronica.
Oh, of course I did. I know Exhibit ABC.
Yeah.
I don't know which one's my favorite though. I think C.
I think C is my favorite too.
I forgot the one.
But I saw him live in Miami.
Yeah. What is the story with him though? Like, he's like, what is the story with him? I know he's dating somebody so he secured the bag.
Yeah.
I know that.
A Rockefeller bag.
Yeah. But like, he's not putting out any music though. So like, I don't know what his story. He's like mad mysterious.
I think this is what he's doing, because if you don't know, when you support an artist, you support them through their live shows. Mm-hmm. That money goes directly into their pocket. Mm-hmm. And also merch. Mm-hmm. But like buying records, streams, CDs, whatever, that doesn't go directly to them. That goes to the record company.
Okay.
So his thing, he's signed to Rock Nation. He's been signed to Rock Nation for almost probably like 10 years now.
Yeah.
If not 10 years, like close to 10 years. And he does tours. He's in, I think he was in Philly. If it's not this month, it was like a couple of weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And he still tours. He's like in his 40s, and he can rap with the best of them. And he just gets money. Like, he doesn't have to put out an album because people just go to see him strictly off of his mixtapes that he's put out over the past couple of years. So I just think that he's just making money, and he's supporting his family, and like, he's okay with that because Jay-Z is his boss. Yeah. And like, you know, Jay-Z knows what it is. He knows the hustle. He knows the game, and he doesn't have to, you know, he doesn't have to put out an album for credibility. I'm trying
to think of some names, because there are rappers out there that literally don't put out as much music, but their brand is so strong,
right,
and their touring is so good, or their merchandise is so good that
right,
they still manage to make money. I'm trying to think of some rappers off the top of my head. I just can't.
I can't think of rappers, but I can think of like one of my favorite groups, like Daft Punk. Like, they don't have to tour, but if you go to the website, they got hoodies, they got buttons, they got coasters, they got posters, they got, you know,
like Daft Punk is one of those people that are going to be alive forever, though.
that would be nice, because I've yet to see them in concert.
Yeah,
I would love to see them in concert.
Yeah,
but like, it's just, you know, because of just, she, to me, out of that whole group, has the staying power. But like, if you go listen to some of their music today, I think it still holds up. If you go to listen to Baduism, if you go listen to Maxwell's first album, or D'Angelo's first album, whoever, Lauryn Hill's first album, her only album really. Yeah, she actually is one of those people. She has a brand. She can go on tour today, and
based
people
off
will
of
show
Fugees
up.
And that one album.
Right, exactly. And you know, she might come out, you know, 3 hours later, or she might come out an hour later from when she's scheduled to appear. But people will still see her.
Absolutely.
And you know, it's. I think it's a really interesting thing. It's just about people wanting to go to see live shows. And I saw her live, actually, and it was really dope.
Really?
It was government.
Yo, she's mad like feng shui, dude. I want to chill with her.
Oh yeah.
For like a day.
I literally want to see her in the movie What Men Want. You know, she's in that with Taraji P. Henson.
Really?
So you ever heard of, I think it was What Women Want with Mel Gibson in the 90s. It was basically a movie who, like, a guy like gets bumped in the head, and all of a sudden he can hear the thoughts of women, and he like becomes this like Rico Suave type guy.
Oh, okay. Shit.
Same thing, it's like role reversal, gender reversal. So Taraji P. Henson, she thinks she's going to get like a job, at least this is what the trailer shows you. She thinks she's going to get a job, and she ends up getting overlooked for another guy.
Right.
And then something happens where Erykah Badu plays like some bruja that comes to like her, and her homegirl brings her to her, and she has her drinks the potion. She's like, "What am I taking? Like some acid?" She's like, "It's ayahuasca." Or something crazy like that. Yeah. And then next thing you know, she wakes up after like, you know, just whatever, passes out, and she can hear men's thoughts. And she goes back to her. She's like, "What'd you make me drink?" She's like, "Listen, I helped you out. Like, you said you wanted this and blah, blah, blah."
Yeah.
And I want to see that movie just off of the strength of Erykah just playing like some like hippie, like freaking woke ass, like freaking. You follow her Instagram? Her Instagram is trippy as fuck,
I know.
bro.
And the shit that she be wearing sometimes is really funny. It's really funky.
She's a Pisces. You know, Pisces are weird like that. Fucking Pisces, man.
You believe that stuff?
A little bit.
I do too. I only believe it because of what I read about myself. I'm like, this is
When's your
fucking
birthday?
me to the T. April 15th.
Oh, you're Aries.
Damn, how do you know, bro?
I can
You remember all the freaking...
Well, because
signs
they're
and shit?
between the 21st and 22nd of each respective month.
Yeah.
So, like, from March 21st to April 22nd or April 21st,
Yeah,
it's like
it's Aries, yeah.
So...
everything you read about Aries is me to the fucking T. Everything.
There's so much, like, you know, there's your sun sign, which is Aries. There's your moon, which is how you...
See, that stuff I don't look too into because I'm like, this is a little too much.
I work with a lot of hippies right now. And they're really into it, and they've put me onto a lot of stuff.
Would you ever go to a fortune teller?
I've gone.
You have?
Yeah.
Where at?
It was in Highland Park, actually. And the last time I went, she was like, "Why are you here?" And, like,
What do you mean the last time you went? Meaning like you went multiple times?
I used to go a few times and like try
Really?
to get some feedback and get some insight. And the last time I went, and I was going through like a dark part of my life. This is when I was like dropping acid and fucking smoking weed and just had no direction.
Yeah.
And I remember the last time I went, because I used to go to this lady because I lived in Highland Park. She, you know,
She was right there.
Yeah. And so me and my friends would go, and she was like, "Why are you here?" And I did the same reaction you. I laughed. I was like, "What are you talking about?" Like, I'll pay my $30. You do my reading, blah, blah. She's like, "No, you're not supposed to be here. I'm getting messages that you shouldn't be here and you need to look into fighting Christ." And I was just like...
Fighting what? Christ?
Christ, yeah.
Okay.
Right. Mind you, my name is Gabriel. My sister's name is Angel. And so I was like, okay, cool. Thank you.
So can I get my $30 back?
No, she didn't. She didn't even, like, it wasn't, like, she was literally, like, in the door.
Oh,
like, I wasn't even able to,
okay.
she was like, "What are you doing here?" Like, one of those moves, like, "Bruh, what you doing here?" And I was like, all right.
Oh, it's so trippy.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm like, yo, like, and mind you, like a month before I had seen her and she, read my palm and like did the, whatever. So she was like, yeah, you're not supposed to be here. You need to be on your path. You need to find Christ. You need to find Jesus. And a lot of people say, like, especially my dad, he's super religious, but he fucked around with some shit he shouldn't have fucked around with, like making money out of nowhere, and that energy came back to bite his ass. So he's super fearful of like, the occult, which is hidden. It means hidden in Latin. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's demonic or devilish. It's just that it wasn't part of the mainstream way of thinking at the time of mainstream thinking, whether it's 200 years ago, 100 years ago, 50 years ago. But there's some shit that, like, you fuck with it, you fuck with certain energies, that energy comes back to you in a certain way that you don't like.
Right.
My dad used to dabble in that. And so because of that, he, super, like, aware of all types of occult, whether it's positive or negative. But with this person, she was interesting because she was a Christian, but she also was a psychic. Like, this was her living, like, but she goes to church and she, prays to God and all that stuff. And so that's why I liked, me and my friends like going to her, because she would bring that into a lot of her readings. Yeah. But when she told me that, like, I haven't been back to a psychic ever since. And also, I've kind of become a little psychic my damn self. Like, I'll have dreams that will come true. Really? Yeah. Or I'll have a feeling and I'll like make a left and come to find out there's a giant accident on that road. Take.
It's like your intuition is really strong.
Right.
Stuff like that.
Right. As I've gotten older and I've become more in tune with myself, it's just like certain voices, certain things, like, you just do, you don't do, you ignore, you listen. Yeah. And it's actually it's really cool. And so when I hear about people going to psychic, I'm like, okay, that's your choice, but that's not necessarily mine. Right. So, but I respect everybody's role. So it is what it is.
I feel like I still need to go because a friend, he was telling me about it because I asked him the same question. I was like, yo, look, I every time I pass by, Route 18 on East Brunswick, I see two of them. I see one across from like Best Buy, and I see one on the highway, like before you pass by like Burger King and Popeyes and stuff. So I was like, I've always wanted to go. And he said, listen, it's really true because, when he went, she was telling him a whole bunch of shit. And she was like, do you want to know the good, the bad, and the ugly? Yeah. And he told her all of that. But one thing, because I was like, what's the ugly? Because I know nobody really wants to go there to know the ugly, but I want to go for the ugly. Right. Even if she tells me something crazy like, look, you're going to die in a week. Right? But like, damn, at least I know. That's what I'm saying. It's like, shit, at least I know. Because then I'll live, this next week, I'll live it like the best I could ever do. Right. But, one thing he said was like, one of the ugly parts was that he has this bad energy around him. So she was saying that, she didn't give him any names, but she was saying there's a close there's a close friend or a distant relative that's casting this bad energy. And by bad energy, I mean that they are just envious. Like, yeah, they want to see you do well, but there's a big part of them that just doesn't want to see you succeed in life. And that's literally what's holding you back from being the successful businessman that you want to be right now. Because you could have been you could have been that successful businessman doing all these things that she said he was going to do, which is what he, already pre-planned. He was like, she's like, you're going to do 3 businesses by 2020, all this stuff. But she's saying because of that bad energy, it's going to get pushed back just a little bit. It's not going to happen as soon as you want it to, but it's going to happen 3-4 years down the line.
So he's looking at this circle like,
and he's just sitting there like well, he was like,
is it you?
So I was like, are you gonna go up to like different friends and close relatives and be like, yo, what's up? You know what I mean? But like,
see these hands?
because I would have been like, yo, I swear to God. Or if anything, I would have texted all my friends and been like, I love you. I just want to let you know that all this shit and anything bad in the past, it was a lie, bro. I love you. All the girls, all my exes in the past, I'd be like, listen, I still love you, okay? Just know, anything bad that happens, just don't ever think about me. Don't think anything bad of me, all right? Because I never think anything bad of you, all right? Stuff like that. And
what did he say?
And no, that's it. He's like, I asked him, I was like, are you going to like go around and looking for people? And he's like, nah, dude, I'm not. But I feel like if what she's saying is kind of happening in this like path, this pre-planned path, then I'll probably run into that person, find out on my own, and then try to fix it. Because like, what is he going to do though? Like, what is he going to start texting his friends and be like, yo, you envious of me? You know what I mean? One, they're going to say no. And then, it's like, what is he going to do?
I think it's one of those things where like, once you become aware of it, because I think I've had something similar said to me. And it's not like you go and you start, like you said, texting people and asking them, like, yo, what you doing? Like, how do you feel about me, getting this business on? You happy for me or not? I think it's just, you just start to pay attention more. You start to look at what people are saying. You see how their energy is moving and, what vibes they're bringing to the table. Because I think I had a friend say that to me, and this is crazy, and this takes me back to Erykah Badu. I had one of my best friends. They went to Peru and they did ayahuasca. And the crazy thing is, I told them about ayahuasca like 5-6 years ago. And the motherfuckers beat me to it. I'm like, bitch, how you? I told you about it. Now you. That's dope. Tell me more. But they said that I came up in one of their fever dreams. Do you know about ayahuasca?
No, I don't. Okay. The only thing, but what's funny though? You know where I heard the name is from when Vsauce. You know who Vsauce is?
That's a YouTuber?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's if you would know because if you watch H3H3's podcast, one of the episodes was Vsauce talking about taking ayahuasca and explaining it to Ethan. But I fucking forgot what it was. Is it just like a really strong psychedelic psychedelic thing?
It's a natural psychedelic that comes from a specific plant. And tree in the jungle.
These Peruvians are like literally like finding. No, I think what's funny? Zuhair, the last guy on my podcast, was telling me the exact same thing. He said in Peru, there you got to go into like the jungle parts, like the natives,
you're not
because
in, like,
they
Lima,
specifically make this thing. And then when asked about like how do you know what to do, they're like the plants talk to us. I was like, well, shit. Let the plant talk to me because I want to know about my future. But what does it actually do though?
So what it is, it's one of many cleansing rituals and rites. The cool thing, and Joe Rogan talks about this. A lot of people talk about this. The way that we're doing a lot of our psychedelics, it's misguided and uninformed. We don't have the right tools in place to really reap the benefits of it. For instance, the shaman. Okay, so prior to modern society, our current patriarchal society, the head of a community or the head of a village was the priestess, and it was a matriarchal society. But then second in command was the shaman, which was usually a male. And he was like the spiritual guide, and she was like the political guide. Okay. So think like basically the president versus the pope, but for a community. So the shaman is the person that guides you on certain spiritual and emotional journeys. And it was a lot of rites of passages for a lot of indigenous cultures for before you became, part of the tribe, for you to go on this spiritual journey. And so ayahuasca is one of many, within, the world. I'm sure every indigenous culture has their own, but primarily in South America.
Yeah.
That was their, and maybe Central America too. That was their rite of passage. What it does now for a lot of people, it helps to clear a lot of like trauma, a lot of bullshit, like to help you, like kind of like what the psychic told your friend, like you're holding yourself back to certain things that's holding you back, and this is a way for you to do it.
Gotcha.
And so my friend felt like she needed to kind of like get past some bullshit in her life. Her significant other felt the same way. Her sibling felt the same way, and they all went down there. And they did it. And just like you say, like you fly out there, then you take a van, and then you go to like a small part of like a village, and then you take like a boat to the place that you're going to be staying, and then you take another boat to where you actually do the ceremony.
Right.
And it's deep in the jungle.
Yeah.
Jaguars and mosquitoes and anacondas type deep in the jungle. And you can't drink coffee or soda or anything like crazy like 2 weeks before. You can't have sex the week before.
Okay.
You can't like do it like, because you have to get your body ready, because what happens is the purge happens once you drink it. Yeah.
Meaning what?
From one of your many holes, something's gonna come out.
Oh God.
Yeah. You either shit, poop, or both.
Yeah.
But in that, like you're literally getting rid of like all this like physical, metaphysical toxins in your body.
Okay.
And that's when you hear voices, and I remember my friend was telling me that she, like, after she like purged or whatnot, because like you can go to like the bathroom, like, and you know, let it all out, and then like you come out and like you just like, and the whole time the shaman is guiding you with music and with saying words, and there's people around to kind of make sure that you're good, to take care of you. But then she said she remember like right in the beginning she looked over and she saw these beings of white lights, like a silhouette of light, helping her brother like stand up and like get up. And she was wondering why she didn't like feel like she was getting up. And a voice told her, like, well, actually those are your beings, those are your like ancestors, your guides that are helping him.
Okay.
Because you always tend to help other people rather than yourself. And I used to tell her all the time, I was like, but you're always trying to save the world. Like,
yeah.
You got to worry about you. And that was literally the manifestation of that being displayed, like while she was looking. She saw like her spirit guides or her ancestors or her angels helping her brother, but she had nobody around her. So she called them over and they started helping her. And she said, I came up. And she said one of the things, she was like, she said that, we all are blessed with gifts. We all have gifts, something unique that allows us to contribute to the world.
Right.
And she said, I came up in that, and she said that I have a gift, and I'm not allowing it to happen because I have these forces around me that are prohibiting me from doing that.
Right.
Shit. And so when I think about it now, I'm looking at my girlfriend crazy. I'm like, what you say? I'm looking at my boss, looking at me like, you ain't give me that promotion, bro. What's going on? You holding me back because I leave? I need this money.
But you gonna send them texts?
Right. Send them a text like, do you love me?
Yeah.
Why don't you text me?
So essentially,
you're right.
Ayahuasca, or at least not even ayahuasca, but what I'm trying to say is essentially that entire ritual is them taking this psychedelic, like something like DMT or ayahuasca, and using it not in a recreational use, but more so like trying to clear your mind.
Right.
And is it kind of supposed to be like this big epiphany where you realize stuff? Is that what they're trying to do?
In a way, yeah, but it doesn't happen in one night. There's like, you're at least there for like a week and you're doing sessions.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So like by the end of it, you're probably like 20 pounds lighter. You're probably like so fucking aware and alert a lot of stuff. And unfortunately, and I've heard this because I've been studying, just because it's illegal in the United States. So I've studied. I have like 3 other friends that have gone to either South America to do it or have done it illegally in the United States with groups of people.
Yeah.
Like in the Poconos, for instance.
Yeah.
Which is like our closest, I guess, in this
to
region.
a jungle.
To a jungle, right? Exactly, the remote wilderness. But I always hear the same thing: is that like, okay, once you receive the information, you then have to put in the work. And it reminds me of this scripture. I forget the actual verse number, but faith without works is dead. So if you have faith, that's great. But if you ain't working,
then what's the point of the
what's
faith?
the point of having the faith?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. Like once you get that information, you have to then apply it to when you get back to your normal. So you have to change probably maybe your lifestyle. Maybe you have to cut out like the cigarettes. Maybe you have to cut out the lack of intimate connections with your significant other or your family members. Or maybe you have to quit that job and really pursue what you care about and love. And my friend actually had done that. She actually left a job. And it was a pretty good job. It was in the city. She was, in between jobs for a little bit, found a great job. And now she's actually the director of her department. And
amazing.
She's young. But she's also doing like this spirit work on the side. Where she connects to your higher self and she helps you get through your bullshit, which cool. She would not have done had she not gone to
and had that experience.
And had that experience because what they told her was that she is a healer, and so she has to work on her healing abilities.
So is this supposed to be like? It's so many things. I have so many questions.
It's a lot.
One is are they trying to help you find your purpose in life?
Basically. Yeah.
By unlocking some part in your brain.
Right.
But there's got to be side effects to that shit, dude. If you're doing it for a week straight, your mindset or whatever it's doing to your brain probably has so much of an effect that when you're off of it, what happens then?
You feel drained. Because what happens is it's like an all-night thing. Like you do it 11. It goes from 11 to 5, 6.
And there's got to be some sort of side effect in the fact that when you think about it, you went through a whole week of having just so much shit going on in your brain. It's unlocking all these parts of your brain.
Right.
But then when you go back to your regular life, there's got to be something. I feel like people probably fall into a depression or something, right? Because then they're I had all of this going on, but now I'm just kind of
have all these visions.
Now I don't have those thoughts anymore. I just have a normal let me get to work and do this.
Certain things stay with you, from what I've heard. It stays with you and it motivates you.
Yeah.
It motivates you to want to either push forward what you saw, whatever you felt, whatever you experienced.
That is true. Because if they tell you, if they told her look, you're supposed to be a healer or you are a healer, and we see this thing where you always want to help other people out, she'll come out of it and be like, maybe that is what I want to do, and it motivates her to do that.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool. Okay.
And then it's just a cleansing thing because apparently from what I've heard, and I kind of believe this actually, you take on generational stuff from your family just through DNA. You're like your dad, whether you realize it or not,
Absolutely.
And I'm like my dad, whether I realize it or not, the good and the bad. And that's something that's science. It's just passed down to you genetically, hereditary codes.
Right.
But then you also take on some of this spiritual shit too. So for instance, my family, on my dad's side of the family, they dealt with a lot of alcoholism and drugs.
Right.
And a lot of a lot of bullshit. So me knowing that, I'm hyper aware of what I consume and where my mind can go if things aren't going right, which is why your video was amazing. I was like, my man. And so because of that, there's a way for me to kind of break. You can break cycles. It's all about cycle breaking. And that's what kind of my friend got into. She was like, okay, well, because of this, I've been doing this. And so now that I know what this is, knowledge is power. Now I have the knowledge to act differently. And a lot of people go for that, and it's picked up over the last 10 years because I've been kind of studying this for about a good 7 years, just what people are experiencing between that, mushrooms, and ibogaine. What they're saying is, what a lot of people are saying is that it's one of those things where you get the information, you want it to work, but now you need more information.
Right.
And and this was crazy too because my friend, she grew up Catholic, and did the whole church thing, all the Catholic rituals and rites and so on and so forth, all the traditions. She said she didn't believe in God until she had that experience.
Really?
Yeah.
Shit.
Right. Exactly. That's why I was like, fuck. I'm like, whoa.
I mean, honestly though, who was the person you said that was your sister? You said when she saw the white silhouette figures.
She's like a sister. Yeah.
Dude, if I saw that, I would have believed in God too, though.
Right, but no, that wasn't what made her believe in God. She heard God's voice.
Oh.
Yeah. And
what do you think God sounds like?
I've heard a voice. One time.
Have?
I have, and I was meditating. I remember I was meditating. And this is probably maybe 2 years ago, and I was meditating and the voice said, "My son, I'm proud of you." And I immediately started to cry.
Did he sound like Morgan Freeman?
It sounded like Morgan Freeman from Bruce Almighty. Listen here, I want to tell you that I'm proud of you.
Like God, I believe in you.
No, but like it's funny because like when I go to church, you know, I also see like stuff on like, you ever watch Ratchet TV on Instagram? You ever follow them?
Yeah.
Like they always have something crazy with somebody just like doing something crazy in church or something.
Yeah.
You know, the funny thing is like when you're in church, you're in that space, what my dad calls the corporate anointing. And what he means is that you're in a space, and it doesn't have to be a church, but you're just in a space, a concert. You're in a space and sickle mode comes on. Everybody's singing the words. Everybody's dancing to the same beat. Like, there's power in that.
Yeah.
There's power in people vibing on the same level to something. And so when you're in church and have you ever been in church, specifically a black church?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
But
it's really
fun.
When I was
experience.
Me and my sister were kids, we would just like laugh at like the people. But like there's something about that presence of that energy that is overwhelming. And when it's overwhelming, you can only do one of several things. One of a few things actually. You either shout, you either dance, or you cry.
Okay.
Or you pray. And you will see that if you go to like a black church, or you just go to any church where the presence of God is felt and people are allowed to express that, you see that expression in these really interesting ways. And I knew that was the voice of God because I started to cry, because the idea, the presence is just so overwhelming that your body only has a few limited responses to like what was I gonna do? Run? Like, I'm a 30-plus-year-old man. I'm like, I shouldn't be afraid of God. I should want to experience that. So when she said that, I was like, whoa. Like, a lot of people are out here in the world and they're saying this, they're saying that, they're on these platforms and getting money from this group of people because they're saying, who may not even know who God is or what that is. And like, we all have our own personal idea of what God could be. And for her to have that experience, I thought was really dope.
Yeah,
I thought it was really cool, and I could only equate that to my experience, which had happened like in a short time post that before that conversation happened.
Right.
So I couldn't even be mad at her, like, "Damn, son, you didn't know about God. You didn't know what God like."
Yeah.
Who am I to know what her experience is and what she has, seen and visualized and dreamt about in her life? So it was just like a really cool thing. But like, she wants to go in May. She's like, you want to go down?
The ayahuasca.
Yeah, she wants to go back.
Yeah,
because you want to kind of continue to do you feel
like you can find out more stuff.
You've taken in a lot of stuff that you've processed since then.
Yeah,
and then you want to, because what happens is they call it Mama Ayahuasca, Mother Ayahuasca. She gives you messages, she talks to you, and she lets you know what you need to do. And the closest thing that I can say with that is that I took acid, and this is like 2014.
Yeah.
2014, 2013. And in that, I realized that I wasn't where I wanted to be. And that's the dope thing about psychedelics, is that it breaks down this reality that we are experiencing right now, and it really makes you like see things for what they truly are.
Right.
And at the time I was in a relationship, and I deep down in my heart, like, probably subconsciously, I knew I wasn't as invested in the relationship as the other person was. But the acid, the psychedelic, broke down those walls and created these situations that made me see my shit. That's what happened. That's what happens when you do ayahuasca or you do mushrooms. It makes you see your shit. That's why you can't like be in a bad mood doing this shit, because it's gonna fuck your shit up. Like,
right.
It's gonna show you some real fucked up shit if you're in a fucked up place. And I was at the time. I wasn't in the worst place.
Fucked up
but
place,
I was
physically or mentally? Both.
Yeah. Mainly mentally and emotionally.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget it. April 23rd, 2013. Me and her got into a fight while we were on acid, and it was one of the greatest trips ever. It was just like, this was moving, and like we were watching.
Yeah.
How to Train Your Dragon.
Okay.
Yo, that movie is crazy. Especially like if you own pets and you watch that movie, you're like, yo, this is crazy.
So do you look at your dog and you're like, listen, I know you could be a dragon in the future?
Well, she just had a dog. Her dog had just passed away.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm
sorry. No, whatever. It wasn't my dog. I'm fucking her dog. That motherfucker looked like he was dying. So she's like, God damn, nigga, when you fucking up our shit, you need to go, player. Just go to doggy heaven. Let's do it. It's okay. All the milk bones you want. But the dog had passed, and we watched it like maybe a month later, and she already had a cat, so like the cat was cool as fuck. And like she was like, we were both emotional, like, oh shit, this motherfucker.
Yeah.
Toothless is my nigga. That nigga is loyal. He don't die, motherfucker, don't die. And then we ended up watching Green Lantern after that, and that's when I had like this crazy deja vu experience from when I was 17 in high school. When I was 17 in high school, I smoked weed. Like, it was the first time I smoked weed, and I passed out in the middle of the street. Like, I was with the homies, and we were just like, you know, it was right after football season, so we're like, yeah, let's fucking drink, let's smoke. And I remember what I experienced April 23rd, 2013, I had experienced when I was 17 in like 1999 of November.
Shit.
Yeah. And I remember hearing her voice, I remember the sounds, and I remember, it was crazy. And I don't know if that was like a marker in like my life where I was like, motherfucker, you need to figure this shit out because this ain't what it is. This ain't it, chief. This ain't it.
Yeah.
And so after that, like that's when fucking we just got into a huge fight. And it was because I was jerking off on her computer.
Wait, this is during
I was like,
shit?
not during, but like she didn't want me watching porn on her computer, and I was doing that shit like behind the back, and I told her not. The guilt was eating me up. That's what the acid was doing. It was just like it started to manifest in this way, like where I was just like starting to have this really bad trip, and like all this, the visuals was crazy, but then shit started to melt, and it didn't feel fun. Although that's all I could tell you. And we just got into this fight, and she just started fucking wilding on me. She was just going in, and she was just like. Just called me all types of
For
names.
What reasons though? Was it
because
the fact that now she got to clear her history? She gonna get viruses?
I was doing it behind her back.
Oh, she just
and she was like, so she was Muslim. You ever Balochistan? No. Balochistan is a province in Pakistan, and they're primarily Muslim.
Okay.
And she was super like about her religion.
Yeah.
And she was very like stern about like certain things in life.
Yeah.
And one of them was pornography, and she just like felt it eroded relationships. And there's actually sides I kind of believe that too to this day. Like I believe that pornography is not the best thing for people. For men specifically, because men are visual creatures. It fucks with you, makes you think that women are going to go these things that you see in the video, and it's not the case. When it doesn't happen, you run back. It's a vicious cycle.
Absolutely.
And so she was basically just like, I did something behind her back. I basically cheated on her.
Yeah.
And she just basically kicked me out, and I was living with her at the time.
Damn.
And so I had to call my boy who came to pick me up from this area. He drove to Orange at like 2:00 in the morning and packed all my stuff and went home. I tried Ashton a couple of times after that, but it wasn't the same. Like, because like I had been woke. It was like, it just, the fun of it, the leisureness of it was no longer there. And so I go do this experience where I mentor young kids in rural parts of the country. We do conservation work. And I remember that I had this feeling in my stomach for like 3 weeks before it happened. So me and her got into a fight in April. I was supposed to leave in July to live somewhere for a month. I was going to Maine. And what happened was that I just had this feeling, and it wouldn't subside for whatever reason. The only thing that was make it subside was me reading scripture from the Bible.
Okay.
And when I finally got to this place in Maine, I didn't know what I was going to experience. I didn't know if these people were going to be racist and hate black people, because it was me, 2 Hispanic kids, and a white kid and a Jewish kid. And like I'm responsible for them for that month that we're working and living together. But what was crazy was that what I've kind of, in retrospect, was that I didn't know if I was going to be able to match the peace that I was going to experience with the peace that I was looking to have in myself.
Right.
Because that place was super peaceful. Like, there was a heat wave that year, 2013. It was like 100-degree days out here.
Shit.
And the hottest it got out there was like 72 degrees. We had a cabin on the lake. Like, it was real peaceful. Everybody was super nice and just grateful that we were there to have that experience. And so I knew that I had obtained some type of peace there. Like, I started meditating every day. I started like doing push-ups. Like, before that, I was like, I played around in the gym, but like I wasn't serious. I wasn't dedicated.
Right. Yeah, we know.
And and so I knew I was coming back to Jersey, and I knew I was coming to a place that had so many distractions, so many things. So that's when I decided to like rededicate my life to Christ. That's when I gave up drinking, smoking, fornicating, and get my life together, because I was basically couch surfing until I met her. And then me and her had plans to move overseas because we had got our teaching English as a second language certification, and we were going to live in Qatar together.
Wow.
Yeah. But I backed out when we broke up. I was like, you know what? I got to figure my shit out. And so basically I came up with a plan. I lived at my mom's on the weekends and I stayed with an ex-wife during the week, and I got a job at the school, and basically like I put myself in a position to do things. And 5 months later, on September 23rd, 2013, I rededicated my life, and then December 15th of 2013, I ended up moving into my apartment that I live in now.
Shit.
And that was all because I had that experience where I was just like, I'm not living my truth. I'm not living my best life. I'm not being true to who I am and to what my purpose and plan is. And I don't know specifically what my purpose and plan is right now, but I know more so now than I did 6 years ago.
Right.
And that's why I could never, if anybody says this about acid or mushroom, whatever, I've had my own experiences. And I can say that, listen, I had this and I was able to come out better because of it. I would never tell nobody not to experience something because everybody's experience is different.
Right.
And that's why I will always respect, you know, the non-traditional way of doing things, because the traditional way of doing things, had I gone to freaking a doctor and they prescribed me some fucking, what is it, Klonopin or whatever freaking drug, like, I'd probably be freaking still living on somebody's couch and not doing my own thing and having this conversation with you and trying to figure things out. I wouldn't have that resolve. And it was just a really cool experience. So like, you know, I kind of want to do mushrooms because I heard acid is harder than mushrooms. Mushrooms is a much more subtle, like chill, like experience. Acid is much more intense, which I didn't realize at the time. I used to get conflicting stories. People were like, no, acid's much softer. But then other people were like, no, freaking acid is fucking hard as shit, bro.
I've only done acid once, and it was the worst experience of my life. Not the worst experience, but it was freaking unplanned. It was like we were just kind of doing whatever, and I guess the only thing I can say that I remember that was out of the ordinary was I got like a huge, like, so it was in my friend's apartment. He just moved in, so it was an empty apartment, but it was a modern, brand new apartment that just this building that just got built in New Brunswick. I'm looking around and I'm like 2 hours into it, and I'm looking around. It's like a rainstorm outside, and the windows are closed. Everybody's in one of the rooms, and I'm just standing here in this long like hallway, which is his living room. It's empty, and I'm looking around. I'm like, all right, I feel mad cozy. I'm looking around. It feels like a cabin. It literally looked like a cabin to me. I felt like there was like an apocalypse going on outside, and I was just safe in this cabin. It felt good and homey. And then out of nowhere, like freaking like 2 minutes later, I got like the worst anxiety attack ever. Like I've never gotten anxiety. I didn't even know what anxiety was. My heart started beating really fast. I got really uncomfortable. I got nauseous, and all I wanted to do was just experience the outside world. I just wanted to go outside or just get some fresh air. That's it. I just needed like a breeze to hit me in the face to know I got fresh air, because I was stuck and claustrophobic in this place. And all I had to do was I just started slowly walking to the window, and I just cracked the window open a little bit, and I heard the storm, and I heard like some breeze come in. I just took like a deep breath, and I was like, oh, that feels good. Fuck this shit. What the fuck? Like, why did I feel that? You know, like, I started getting mad. I was like, what is this shit? This sucks, dude. And then, like, all my friends are like, yo, relax. We're going to go to another place. And I was like, okay, like, you know, da-da-da. And then this girl was like, yo, I ordered pizza. It's going to be at my house. And I was like, why didn't you order the pizza to this place? We don't want to go there. And then she was like, it's okay. It's down the street. And I was like, all right, whatever. We're in New Brunswick. Yo, her place was like 15-minute walk. Like, it was mad far. It was like literally the opposite side of the campus. No Uber. We just walked there. I'm wearing Chelsea boots, my brand new Chelsea boots, gray colored, and they got fucked up in the rain. I'm walking in the puddle. We finally get to her place. The pizza comes. This is like, oh my god, it's like 2 hours later, and this has been 8 hours total now, and it's gone. And I'm on the come down now. We got a pizza, and I have the picture. I can't show you now, obviously, because we're recording. I'll show you the picture. It's freaking amazing. It's me and my friend. My friend is crying. He's like this, laughing and crying. And we just have a big, large pepperoni pie just sitting on us. Me and him sitting together, and it's just on our laps, and I'm just like crying. And it's just like the best feeling, because I went through hell, 8 hours of hell to get that pizza. And that was my experience with acid. And all these people are like, yo, you should have been outside. You should have been in the woods. You should be away from civilization. I'm like, well, why don't you tell me that before I took this shit? Right. And that was my experience. So
that's what people told me too. Like me and my girlfriend at the time, we would just like watch movies. And it was like a cool experience. Or I watched, I would do it with sometimes with my friend Trevor. Shout out to Trevor, man. I miss that guy. We used to have some great, but like he would put on The Simpsons or some obscure, weird, fucking like
abstract shit
rock
that you know
music.
It's gonna be good. Yeah.
Or there's this movie that you're supposed to watch. It's called like Savannah or Habana or something. It's on YouTube, and it's just literally just like landscapes and then like animals and landscapes.
That's the perfect thing.
And animals and like
surprisingly enough, you know, like the Google Chrome like images that show up on your TV.
Yeah.
Those are the best.
Right.
They were just still images, but they were moving.
Right.
So what sucked was like a lot of the people that. So there was like 9 people on this shit, by the way, right? And one of them was like I felt like they were forcing it. You know, like they were like, we're gonna watch Lamborghini High by A$AP Rocky because it's an LSD video, and they want to watch the LSD video, and I felt like me watching something that's already incorporated LSD, I feel like it's just overwhelming. It's not doing anything for me. It's forcing something.
Right.
So when I started watching, just like when I started looking around and just looking at shit, still images, that's when I was like, okay, this is cool.
Yeah. I remember looking at the carpet, and the carpet was just like whoosh,
exactly.
Whoosh.
Yeah.
What I realized, it was me that was like breathing, but it looked like it was the carpet. I was like, yo, the carpet is wavy, bro. What's going on? Like you can just like, you don't even have like, I can look at like this right here. Imagine looking like this right here.
Yo, this shit right here?
Be crazy.
Oh, that would have fucked me up.
Can
you just imagine?
Right.
Can you just imagine? This would probably fuck me up a little bit.
Right.
This would have fucked me up a little bit. Not this. This would have fucked me up.
Yo.
That would have fucked me up.
That would have been like, you would have stared at this for like a good 30
are you
minutes.
kidding me? That Tame Impala Currents album would have fucked me up. Everything.
Kitsy Ghost album
cover.
Kitsy
Ghost, all of it.
But this is my thing now with acid. Because I don't even know what I did with acid. I got it from some kid, from a girl that I used to work with. It was her brother who used to sell it. And like, you know, we would get it and we're like, I don't know if this is it. Like, it's crazy because it's LSD is manufactured synthetic. It's not natural. It's made in a laboratory by chemists and whatnot through different, you know, a variety of compounds and whatnot. So that's the only thing about it. Now, mushrooms is different because mushrooms is grown organically. And one of the videos I watched, it was Nat Geo. There's this guy that had like these really intense migraines, like it incapacitated him for whatever amount of time. Like his family knew, and he knew when it was coming. And he would grow mushrooms just so that he would have, you know, some sort of way to deal with it therapeutically because everything that he tried didn't work.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm more, you know, leaning towards doing mushrooms because that's something that is like, you know what it is. Like
it's natural.
Right, it's natural. You see it, like, you know, they do whatever they do to it, whether they crush it up or you just eat it whole, as opposed to LSD. It's on, I don't know how you guys took it, but it's usually on sugar cubes or some sort of like tab
put on your tongue
like
or
little paper or something.
Yeah.
But you don't know what it is, and so many people can create these derivatives that could seem like it, but then that's how you possibly can go down. You can have what's the word? It's a drug-induced psychosis, and that was my fear. That's why I didn't do any drugs I didn't smoke weed until I smoked weed once or twice in high school. Didn't like it because I passed out, and then I smoked after college. And mind you, my roommate in college, like Jamaican dude, like smoked,
smoking all the time,
sold, all my friends smoked, and I was like, nah. I like smoked once in college, and I was like, my heart is beating really fast. I need to lay down. My girlfriend in college, she smoked. Like everybody around me smoked. I was like, nah, I'm good, just because I didn't want to have that feeling of not being in control. And then I started to smoke after college when I felt like, okay, well, I know that I have my own. I'm a responsible individual. I can do this now. But then I also started to do other stuff, which included Molly, acid, and weed. That was really it. Never did cocaine. Never did heroin. Obviously.
Yeah.
Crack. Because some shits that's crazy.
That's some extreme shit.
Really extreme. But yeah, that's my experience. And your experience seems like your experience was. It was a trip. It was a trip. It seemed like it was a trip.
No, it was literally a trip.
Right,
it was just
exactly.
like a long and just exhausting trip.
Right.
But I mean, the same person I did it with, his girlfriend was like, look, I have a lot. We could do it again when the weather is nicer and stuff. And I was like, please, let me do it with you and this other kid because I know it's gonna be planned.
Like go to
and
you guys have garden, bro.
Exactly, something like that, or like shit. I'll be in the woods in Town Lake. This neighborhood right here. There's like some random little woods. I'll sit in there and I'll like freaking start up a campfire or something. Something
Have
where
some food prepared for you.
Yeah, exactly. I want it to be planned. Not only that, but like all these people are talking about, because what I thought LSD was just a visual thing. You just see shit, and like if people go to like the city and stuff and just look around like crazy. But now with your story and a lot of other people, they're saying like, look, we do acid, and it's not just a visual thing; it's a perception thing,
right? Exactly.
And you will get something out of it. You'll get some sort of like mental. You'll think something out of it.
Right.
So I want to do it for that. Maybe it'll unlock some part of my brain, and I'm just like, okay.
It's not about unlocking part of your brain. It's making you, like you said,
in a
perception.
different way, yeah.
Your perspective changes, and that's what I like about the psychedelics, is that it shifts your perspective. It makes you not focus so much on yourself, but how you operate yourself, how you handle your emotions, how you express them, how you impact other people. Because a lot of stuff that I was getting back was how I was impacting other people around me. Mainly, like, for instance, my girlfriend at the time. Like, I was feeling guilty because I was holding something from her, and I needed to do something to absolve me of that guilt. If not, it would manifest itself in a different way. And that was the cool thing about it, is that it just changed my perspective. And like, if you get some good shit, like, you will get, like, I was getting that last time I did it, like the last time I did it with her, I was getting some visuals. I was looking at this fucking TV screen. Like, I don't know if you ever seen Green Lantern with Ryan Reynolds, but like, it's a trippy fucking movie, just because you're like in an alien world and there's this guy with a green suit and there's aliens. Yeah. And you're looking at this shit like, these motherfuckers are for real. Like, this is real, bro. Like, I'm watching it. Like, I can see it. But at the same time, with that, I had this duality of conflicting feelings, because I'm not being true to my girlfriend. And now I think about it, like, as like a 36-year-old man now, in comparison to when I was 30 then, a lot of that duality that I was living, I can't really do it now. Like to do, like, I could watch porn and still be my girlfriend now. Like,
right.
This ain't around. I don't know what you want me to do, girl. But like the cheating thing. Like, when I was in my 20s, I cheated on a good amount of my girlfriends. But like now, like, I have this empathy towards like that feeling of just like doing something like kind of shady, and I'm just like, yeah, maybe I won't have the greatest feeling if I were to do something post it happening, because we don't think about like that post time, that time after.
Think about it in the moment.
We think about that moment.
It could just
feeling.
be you maturing, though. I mean, right?
That
you
too.
went through it, and you're just now. It's just like sometimes, like, that's what I'm saying, is like sometimes I don't know if I even need, well, obviously I still want to do the acid and still want to do ayahuasca and shit. But I feel like sometimes I don't even need the drugs for me to realize some things. It just kind of happens, through experience. And it's like, and I'm mature, even though I'm only 23, but there's certain things that definitely when I was like 18, 19, 20, I did some stupid shit. But now I look back at it and I'm like, why did I do that? What was the reason for that? Like, what did it do for me, right? And that just came naturally through experiences. Was there anything off of this that you did want to touch on before we wrap it up? Yeah, do you agree with the Justin Hunt clip that I sent you? So Justin Hunt was saying that, so when he was using the N-word, a lot of the people, like his white friends, started using it as well, and then his black friends started using it on their own terms, right? But then what was surprising to him is that when he stopped using it,
they also
not only the white people stopped, but the black people stopped too, because they just felt like it just wasn't necessary in their vocabulary if it wasn't being said around them. So I took that and I asked my other friend, he's African, and I asked him that. He said he doesn't believe it. He doesn't believe that just because you stop using the word, that I would stop using the word as well. And I was like, no, dude, I actually believe Justin Hunt. I actually believe, because think about it like this, right? Think about like an example. If you're with your homeboys and you guys say it all the time, the N-word, you're throwing it around all the time, because he starts using it, now the word is stuck in my head, and then I start using it, But then when I meet strangers, or just think about it like this, when I'm in public or when I'm with strangers and they're not close to me and I know I can't use the word, and they're not using it, I'm not using it, there's literal no reason to use that word. And I told him that, but he was like, no, I think some people they don't really care about whether you use it or not. They're still going to use it in their vocabulary. And I was like, I guess. I mean, I think it's probably like a double standard or something like that.
I think it's a situational thing, because like, all right, like obviously at work, You're not dropping in bombs, right? But with your friends or certain people that you're just comfortable with, like, it's just like, there's something about it. Like, even actually when I used to be at work, and I worked at a school where, you know, kids was dropping it left and right. Like, you just like, like, you at the board, you write, and then you hear it, you like,
damn,
you know, like, chill, bro. You're like, you're in school. Like, this is supposed to be your, like, training grounds for a professional setting. So, like, but then also it's school. So, like, kids aren't really caring too much. But there's times where, like, a kid would do something dumb. I'm like,
right.
And they're like, what'd you say, Mr. Gabe? I'm like, nothing. Open your books and let's.
Yeah.
Woo! That almost happened.
Yeah.
And in those situations, then there's situations like I work in an environment that is very. I work at a restaurant, and so it's very like it's a lax atmosphere. So like certain conversations are had, you know, in between, you know, servicing your tables. And like there's certain conversations and certain reactions I'll have with like my white coworkers in comparison to like my black or brown coworkers. And like there's just like a different reaction. Like and the reaction that we get from that reaction, it's very interesting. Like my one dude, Hilby, I love him to death. Shout out to Hilby, baby. Mahatma Hilby. Like he says it the funniest way. Like little Guatemalan dude. And he'll be like, yeah, he would say something like, yo, would you give me that table now? Like, yeah, I'm now I did it. Like, it just made me like he said, like, there's a W in there, and like, he just now. And so, like, and it's funny too because now that I've been working there since August, I kind of talk to my girlfriend like that sometimes. I'm like, listen, I'm Malcolm. And then she says it back. So there is some validity to it. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
You know, and she's Puerto Rican, and there's always been this thing about, oh, you're not black, you can't say it. I'm like, no, if you are an oppressed person of color in America, I think you have the right to say it because there's a certain, like, liberation that comes with it. Like, you know, there's this camaraderie that goes with, like, you better not say this shit to white people, but people of color, I personally don't mind. I don't get offended.
So the answer you just gave,
like Tekashi and like the Chinese rapper, like,
yeah,
I had Korean. Like one of my good friends from college is Korean, and he was probably one of the hoodest dudes I knew because he dated a chick from the hood. Before that, he was wearing a Banana Republic. After that, he was wearing Coogee and Gore-Tex and Jordans. But like he would say it, and like nope, we didn't have an issue with it. We would like people. Sometimes we would joke like, yo, he's light skinned, but like he understood like that minority mindset in America.
So as long as you understand it or you've been through it in some sort of way, because there's two ways to say it, right? Mm-hmm. It's like you could say something like the
hard R.
I'll say hitta, right? Because I don't want to say that short.
Right.
You could say like in a malicious way could be like, oh, look at this hitta. You know what I mean? And it comes off mad wrong.
Right.
But then when you say like, yo, what up, my hitta? Like that, then it's like you could tell it's like endearing.
Right.
Right. So I told that to my friend, and I was like, so does that change the perspective if a white person said it in an endearing way or a malicious way? He said, no, it doesn't matter. He's still white. Because it's still uncomfortable for me to hear it come out of his mouth. Right. And he was saying like, look, listen, we don't want them to use it because they have already taken everything from us. Exactly. It's like, this is the only fucking thing we have. Exactly. For us, this is the only word. And we said, look, white people, you cannot have this word. And white people are going to try to say it or something like that to feel like, oh, if you could say it, why can't I say it? Yeah. Stuff like that. And I honestly do think that at first I was like, I was one of those guys. I was like, yo, like, if you don't want people to say it, don't say it at all. Yeah. You can't take that away from people. I think, I think that's the question is like, do you think that we should just, completely take that word out or, say it? I don't even fucking know. It's like, it's such a complicated situation.
No, I think words are words, all right? They do, there was that old adage that, sticks and stones may break my words, violence, but words will never hurt me. That's not true. Words can be hurtful given the context. Yeah. Now, with that being said, the historical context of the word nigger was obviously mired and it was just covered and saturated in racial, just like discrimination and superiority from the creator of the word and how they used it. Yeah. Now, we have appropriated that. We have taken the word from them, and we have turned it into our thing, where it's now a term, like you said, of endearment. Yeah. Where it's a greeting, it's a reaction, it's a meme sometimes. Yeah. You know, And that's why I love Twitter. You gotta get on Twitter, dude. It's like the memes are so like, oh my god.
Every now and then I go on Twitter.
I
just can't balance all that shit. Dude.
I know.
I got Snapchat, Instagram, all that shit.
Snapchat is wrong. They lose some money on the stock market. That's how you know. But
you're talking as if you put money in there.
I was thinking about it. I was really thinking about a couple of stocks. I'm like, what's a Snapchat? So Khaled was bringing up the brand back in 2015, 2016, but then they just didn't do it right. They just changed the internet. It's weird. And then Instagram, they took it and they did it better. It's even on WhatsApp. It's on YouTube, I think. They have YouTube stories now. Like you could do. Yeah. I think so.
It's too complicated.
It's too so much. But nonetheless, I think that now that we've taken it, we've given it that endearment, or that we spun it, I think it needs to stay around because it's a reminder of how it came about. Like it makes people think about like what Miles Davis had to go through, you know, when he would tour in certain venues in like the 60s and 70s and the 50s, and like what his parents went through, what my grandparents went through, what my parents went through, what my kids can go through, because, you know.
So it's kind of a way, it's like every time they say it, they're like, yo, like, you know, this word reminds us of those bad times, but we got through those bad times.
Right, exactly. So it's like a redemption story.
It's like a redemption story.
Right,
so every time they say it, it's like, yo, we got through that shit, and now we were able to come out on top and
Did you see Killer Mike on The Breakfast Club?
No, I didn't.
I watched it like 2 days ago.
Though.
The show's right.
The show's really good, yeah.
I'm just going to touch on this real briefly. You know, we can save that for the next one, the part 2. But him and Envy and Angela Yee were talking about racial experiences. Because Angela Yee, I believe she's black and Asian.
Yeah.
Envy,
black.
Killer Mike. But they grew up in the city, and Killer Mike grew up down south, in the country, so to speak. But what he was saying is that, like, Angela Yee was commenting that, you know, she felt she was different when she went to a private school from like 7th to 9th grade, because that private school ended up being in the news for a lot of racially charged things that were painted on walls or said to students. And after before she hit 9th grade, she transferred and went to a different school. She went to a public school. And Killer Mike and Envy started to kind of go back and forth about the experiences of people of color, specifically black people, in these environments. And he said that Killer Mike felt that people of color, specifically black people, should be around their own kind until the age of 13. Because what happens is that you have the sense of pride of your culture, your community, your values, and the sense of identity within that culture and community. And so when you go outside of that, you're not as phased as you were if you were to be younger and don't have that sense of identity, which Angela was basically like dealing with when she went to that private school. And she's like, you know, she wasn't like, you know, she didn't like the environment that was hostile. And so his argument is that if you go into a hostile environment, you should have the ability to leave and not like that environment and the people, because you had to deal with that, as opposed to people. Envy's perspective was, you go to these environments to have a better life, to have a better opportunity than your previous generation, like your parents, for instance. And they kind of went back and forth about, like, this is what you're going to experience, so you shouldn't have to have that experience, because it erodes your experience and it kills your self-worth, and it kills your ability to maneuver in other areas, because you keep on experiencing this hostility.
That's what Envy is saying.
This is what Killer Mike is saying. Okay. Killer Mike is saying that the hostile environment doesn't give you self-worth. Envy says that the hostile environments give you better opportunities than you had before in other environments. And I think that's very interesting, because when you go to a place, and, you know, very early in my age, I think I was like probably like 4th grade, maybe 3rd grade, I was fighting another kid, and I stopped fighting this other kid because another kid called me a nigger. And he wasn't calling me a nigger, but he was saying a fight, a nigger, and a white. That was a thing. And it probably still, I don't know if it's still a thing, but that was a thing that was said to me in like 90 something. And I stopped fighting the kid that I was fighting. And I'm not a fighter, which was crazy. You know, the fact I was like defending myself the initial time, but then when I saw the kid that was saying that, like, I went to attack, because there's just so much in that, like, in a hostile environment. And I grew up in a suburb community that was predominantly white, but the part of town that I lived in was where the people of color lived. And what I experienced was that it didn't matter if, I had Asian friends, I had Indian friends, I had black friends, I had Hispanic friends, and also I had white friends, but the ones I hung out with were people of color. And we experienced that. Whether it was the Indian kid that was getting made fun of being called a poo or a dot head, or the Asian kid being called a chink or said they ate cat or, whatever. The Hispanic kid, being talked about his family having like all the stereotype bullshit that people say. We all experienced that. And so there was camaraderie in saying that word because we knew that they couldn't say that. If they did say that, it would be a problem.
So what Killer Mike is essentially saying is like, He wants. We'll use black kids as an example. He wants black kids to hang out around their own people until the age of 13. Why? Because he feels like then they could fully understand themselves and love themselves, so that when they're put in a hostile environment, it wouldn't get to them as much.
Exactly. Because if you look at like other cultures,
that could work, but at the same time, it wouldn't, because then they'll get even more like. I feel like then they would start the fight to like kind of defend their pride in a sense, right?
And I get you on that. And his idea was the fact that like a lot of cultures have this birthrights or this passage of rights at the age of 13, like the bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, so on and so forth. So it's for a lot of cultures that age, that time in some kid's life or young person's life is formative in some way, whether it's personality wise, biologically wise, whatever the case may be. Right. His situation is different though because he grew up in Atlanta, and Atlanta for black people is it's a black town. Like you have high schools, and his thing was that the high schools were named after Martin Luther King and Frederick Douglass and Booker T. Washington.
Malcolm.
Right, exactly. And there's different. These are educators and people that did things for the community. And that gave them a sense of pride within the community because you're around that, as opposed to a school named after, a Confederate soldier, you know what I mean?
So if you're growing up and you're getting to the age of 13 and you're in a white school where they're praising other people other than Martin Luther King and stuff like that, that fucks you up because it's like now they're being forced to look up to someone that isn't even part of their community.
Right. Andrew Jackson, who like scalped Indians, or Thomas Jefferson, who had slaves. Like you're going to this school and you're reading about these, people, and you're just like, wait. And your parents are possibly telling you something. Hopefully, your parents will teach you something different, where they're telling you about like the Crispus Attucks and the Rosa Parks and the Shirley Chisholms and the Jesse Jacksons of the world, but then you're hearing this other story. And that's where there's the idea of like confidence and self-worth within your community allows you to navigate the waters of hostility a little bit more effectively and efficiently. Right. As opposed to if you're in a situation, you don't really know what your culture is or what they've done. And the idea is that basically when you go out into the world and you do meet people from a different background, you're as equals. You're not seen as less than. You understood that Jim Crow was a time period, and that you had people like Miles Davis and other activists and people that did great for your community. Right. You're not feeling inadequate. Right. And that's where the hostility comes from. And I think I had a conversation with a coworker about this, and he asked me about like, the KKK and all this. And I told him that the idea is that at some point in time, somebody had been told you're superior, and because you're superior, it's okay for you to have slaves. It's okay for you because they're not smart and they're not civilized and they have no religion and they have no training. So it's okay for you to, have these slaves. And that's where this whole white superiority, alt-right, KKK, Nazi, neo-Nazi kind of evolved from, because there was a dialogue that started to create to make people feel that they were doing a justice by having this type of system, even though they felt guilty. And the argument was, who was this? I forgot, it might have been Joe Rogan, or somebody was saying that what the Nazis were originally doing when they were killing the Jews is they were having just like a firing squad. These dudes are just shooting, mowing people. No, this is my friend was telling me this. He was reading a book, and they were saying that these guys were just mowing down these Jewish people and then just dropping the bodies in the hole or whatever. Yeah. But those same dudes also had one of the highest rates of suicide because of what they were doing, because they actually felt bad about what they're like. These weren't They didn't lack empathy. They didn't lack compassion. They felt bad about what they were doing. So what the Nazis then had to do, because these guys were killing themselves because of what they were experiencing and seeing and just being emotionally distraught,
they started that it's right.
They started compartmentalizing what the soldiers would do. They would get the soldiers on. They have the soldiers get the people on the train. Then they have the soldiers get them off the train. Then they had another group of soldiers bring them to the barracks. Then they had another group of soldiers bring them to the showers. And they have another soldier flip the switch. So they wouldn't actually see them going from the train to the gas.
It wouldn't build that empathy.
Exactly. It would be a disconnect.
So the people that are flipping the switch are just kind of strangers. Right. They don't feel that. Oh,
exactly.
My God, yeah.
So what my friend was saying, so to translate that into what we're talking about, what happens is that people feel bad for the shit that they do, but they also change and modify their behavior or their dialogue in order to not feel as bad. And that's where the white superiority complex comes from. That's where this nigger word comes from, because it's a way for them to feel better because they felt that they were not entitled, but they felt that something was less than, and so they have to kind of create these ways to feel better about the fact of shit that they're doing. Yeah.
So do you think like in the near future, the far future, that racism could die eventually if we all mix up?
I think so. I don't even think it's about mixing up. I just think that we're just evolving at a pace where we're starting to realize that there are differences, but we're also starting to realize that there's similarities. And it's just the old has to die. Where's that from?
You mean the old people? or the old generation?
That's from Star Wars. Just let the past kill the past. I think, and part of that is true. Like, the older generation has to die. But then there's also that older generation is teaching newer generations.
That's what I'm saying. That's the only thing that would probably hinder it from actually happening a lot sooner than before.
But I feel like
people teaching them. There's no kid freaking
learns
born freaking learning that
shit is learned. We have to fix a couple of things. We have to fix society. We have to fix poverty. We have to fix, freaking economic situations. We can't be us versus them. It has to be a collective, collaborative situation. It just has to be much more inclusive, and we can't exclude. And even there are always going to be people on the fringes. It's always society.
Right.
Those people are the ones that typically change society. But we can't make people feel like they're less than because they're different.
Right.
Or we can't make them feel that they can contribute because they're different.
Right.
And that's what we're kind of seeing the shifting of, is that we're starting to have conversations, we're starting to have dialogue regardless of the differences, which is why this podcast is super important. And while I'll always support it and support you, is because regardless of our differences and what we experience, we have similarities, we have things that we vibe on. But then we also have our differences. Mm-hmm. And because of that, that's an opportunity for us to grow and learn.
Absolutely.
And I think that's just hopefully we will continue down that path. But I'm no psychic.
Yeah. I mean, I think eventually we'll probably see some sort of change.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, man, the audacity of the CAUCASITY.
But white
the audacity of the CAUCASITY.
Damn, they need to season their chicken, bro.
Oh my God.
How
do they do that?
I don't know.
How do they do that?
I don't know. They just need to hang around with some black and Indian.
Oh, you know what that reminds me of? Yo, all this seasoning and shit. This is so random. All this seasoning and chicken, right? Because one of my friends is so I'm not gonna put him out there, but his father, just like a lot of fathers out there, my dad and my entire family and a lot of African parents, they have a lot of high blood pressure, right? So this goes into man, that seasoned chicken is a blessing and a curse, right? It tastes so fucking good, but it leads to so many health problems. But do you think meditation actually helps with lowering blood pressure? That's what I read, because when I try to do meditation, I try to do about like 15 minutes a day, and a lot of the benefits, at least a lot of the articles that name benefits, they always say lowering blood pressure. Do you think that's true or not?
I wouldn't see why. Like, meditation is like, it's to me, it's the best thing. It's the best thing ever.
Give me some reasons as to why you think that and why you started in the first place.
So it forces you to reflect. Like, for instance, when I used to smoke weed, I used to reflect.
Oh, I've reflected a lot.
Right? But
I over-reflected.
Right, exactly. And sometimes it would take a turn to like towards the negative, like, why the fuck did I say that? Oh, I'm such an idiot. Blah, blah, blah. And that's the one thing I didn't like about about smoking was that like sometimes when I reflect, it would turn into this paranoia. It also could be like an indicator of like where I was in life. But what I can say is that meditation allows you to reflect, but it allows you to do it in a way where you're just like you're indifferent in a way. Like you don't have this emotional reaction because you're just in this space that you know you're good.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you know that you're not like you know what it is. Like meditation's the space to like just kind of just clear your thoughts, empty them.
Literally,
and just,
I use it to get away from all the bullshit.
Right.
It's like that 15 minutes is like my only 15 minutes I have.
Right.
And I throw on like some, not even music, I throw on like freaking rain or like waterfalls and shit, like creeks. Yeah. And it's just like one of those things I try to envision myself just sitting in that area in like a jungle and just listening to nature, like bird sounds and shit. It's my only 15 minutes to get away from this treacherous world.
So, and not only that, like imagine like right now we don't have any kids, we don't have like, any major responsibilities.
Yeah.
So it's a good practice just to have so that when that does happen, you have that tool to kind of, it's another tool in your bag to kind of manage the world. Because the world, it can be challenging at times. It's a beautiful world, but it has its challenges, and we are all human. It gets to us at some point where you have to manage it. And I wish I was your age. You're hella advanced to be able to do this at the age of 23. Because at 23, I didn't care about managing things. I was just just living.
Yeah.
Now I've noticed that like, I'm not in like a chaotic environment, like work wise, like I was, when I used to work at a school, but with that subtlety, I started kind of slack on the meditation, but then I started to see my life go down this like, that like, it didn't like go the way I wanted it to.
Yeah.
And so also what meditation becomes is like a visualization tool. Like you're picturing yourself in that rainforest to kind of like give you that sense of like peace and stillness.
Yeah.
But also sometimes I use it to kind of see how I'm going to plan my day or how I want things to go for myself. For instance, I had a job interview, so I meditated before the interview to kind of
clear your mind
and prep my mind, which will eventually translate to my body on how I should feel and act and say and think and be prepared for something. And so it's kind of like a coaching tool for yourself. Like your mind is coaching your body and the rest of your being to just act a certain way. And the best thing, the one thing I could say that I noticed that it was working after I was doing it for a while, was that like when I used to work at the high school, kids used to spaz on you, like especially if you messed up. Like
what were you doing at the school?
I was a teacher for 2 years. Before that, I was doing like admissions and enrollment. And
okay.
But like when I was teaching, I saw like the real benefits of me meditating. And
keep you sane from slapping these kids in the face.
Yeah, man. Basically, So what happened was, like, kids, like, because you're a teacher, there's this air of like, oh, you think you're smarter than me, type of thing, which we are, but like, you're not supposed to like move with it unless at least you need to pull it out on that one kid. Like, I've been doing this for like 20 years.
Yeah.
I've been doing as long as you've been alive. But
so
they're
like just ultimate trolls, really.
Yeah, exactly.
They're just trolls.
And those are some of my favorite students, the ones that are trolls. I'm like,
keeps you on your toes.
Yeah. But like when you mess up, like you are the leader of the classroom in a way, and you're supposed to do things right a certain way. They look to you for that direction. So when you mess up, they'll let you know. Like there's no hesitation.
Right.
And there's also humility in that when you mess up, because you're like, these motherfuckers are loving it right now.
Yeah.
But like I was putting in grades, I remember I put in like a certain student's grade, and they're really about their grades, and they're a good student, and they came at me crazy. They were like, "Yo, Mr. Gabe, like, fuck, you gave me a D, and I really have a B+ in class." Okay, like that breath, because meditation. Erykah Badu said it.
Show them what Erykah Badu looks like.
Erykah Badu is New America.
If you meditate, you get all that. Her meditating right now.
Afro of consciousness.
Yeah.
No, but she said it. She went crazy. Fatabella on Twitter. And she's also, I'm pretty sure she's Fatabella on Instagram too. She said breathing is everything.
Oh, absolutely.
Breathing is life.
Yo,
meditation
that shit calms
is breathing.
you. You just take like 5 deep breaths.
5, 10.
Calms you the
10
fuck
just to be
down.
Extra good.
Exactly.
So
calms you the fuck down.
In that moment, that kid came at me crazy. I'm like, okay, give me a minute. I'll go check, and if you're right, I'll change your grade.
Yeah.
Like, no problem. That craziness died down. It's like, Okay.
Yeah.
You know, because like sometimes like when people come at you like that, they expect a response.
Right.
A similar response.
Right.
And sometimes like the best thing about it is like, especially when people come at you crazy, if you don't respond at all, it infuriates them.
Yeah.
So like that meditation gave me that split second of breathing to let me like change that thought to not react, but to be proactive.
Right.
And I love it because literally it's the only uncontrolled response that you can control, breathing. You know, you can sit there you can just sit there and control your breath. And there's so many techniques between the box breathing technique to the yogic breathing when you're breathing with your stomach, which is like the best to me because that's when you're like, that's how we used to breathe when we were babies. We used to breathe. If you ever look at a baby and you see them breathing, you see their stomach moving. You don't see their chest moving. They're not using their diaphragms. And there's something about breathing through your stomach that helps to kind of like cleanse and kind of keep you grounded and like allow you to like really, really kind of like process what's happening. The best analogy I can share about breathing or meditation is that there's different ones. There's all similar, but it says that you are a mountain and your thoughts are clouds. The clouds are going to come, but you don't have to entertain every cloud. You don't have to entertain every thought. The thoughts are going to happen. The thing about breathing, why it's hard, is that people are like, oh, I think too much. I'm like, no, that's fine that you think too much, but don't let every thought consume you.
Yeah.
Just like let it be a thing and then, okay, move on. Just like, and then when you get into that like space of just nothingness, when you're just like, if you ever like meditate for like 30 minutes, when you're just like you come out like, oh shit. And time doesn't exist, and it's like you like, oh shit, 30 minutes went, 15 minutes went past. That's when you know, like those are the days I know I need it when I'm like, oh, it's 15 minutes already. Yeah, when timer goes off, I'm like, oh, whoa. And that's the real drug that I use now, you know, the meditation. And I've been I don't think I meditated today. I didn't meditate today.
Yeah, when you do it consistently, though, it drives you insane when you don't do it. Because you're like, shit, exactly. I need that 15 minutes. It is like a drug.
Exactly. Especially if like you're driving and you get that person that cuts you off. You're like, wait, I didn't meditate today.
Yeah, but the thing is, the great thing about meditation is you don't have to like, because what I used to do was I would like literally lock myself in my closet, sit in that dark space, throw on the AirPods, and just listen to that creak, right?
Nice.
But now it's like, even when I'm driving, it's just breathing.
Yeah.
Just focus on your breathing.
Yeah.
You can still drive and do whatever you need to do, but just take those 10 deep breaths and clear your mind. Just literally focus on the breathing.
Yeah.
And then I come out of that and I'm just like, I just feel like all those thoughts, because I think a lot, right? And that's one of the main reasons as to why I want to stop smoking altogether, right? Marijuana is like, because that shit just
it gets your head going.
400 thoughts in a second. And then that eventually, ultimately, actually, it definitely leads to paranoia. Yeah. Right?
You think so?
Oh, I mean, everybody's different, right? Because I was having this conversation the other day with a friend, and she was like, no, like, weed is different for me because I have weed hangovers, and I have literally.
You have one, or she does?
No, I do.
Okay.
I was telling her all the cons. Because what I do is before I smoke, I put out like a pros and cons chart in my head. Okay. And the pro is the pro is
he is a thinker.
Dude, the pro always wins. But the pro is it feels good. The food tastes great. Right. If you're with your girl, the sex is great.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
The cons, I get paranoia. I have to worry about being normal around strangers. I can't speak to strangers because I say stupid shit.
I forget this, about that.
This, and that. And it's like 12. By the time I'm done, it's like 30 different cons. Right. And then my conscious, and then I have a devil, and then I have an angel. The angel is like, look at the cons. Right. You have 30 cons over 3 pros. And then my devil is like, that should feel good though. And I'm like, all right, let me take a hit. You know what I mean? And then and then all the cons hit. You know what I mean? So it's like, what the fuck? But you know, but that weed shit, dude, it just leads to nothing but it's sluggishness, unproductiveness, me beating myself up because I'm overthinking all the bad thoughts, you know, because and then let's go like what I was originally, my friend, she was like, yo, I don't feel any of that. If anything, it makes me more creative. Yeah. And I was like, dude, when I smoke, like, and I need to. So what I do now is I'm so mature. I love myself. So when I'm texting somebody, I make sure I finish the conversation because I know how to text. I'm funny and I'm myself. But when that weed hits, dude, I'm a different person. I stare at the same text, and a girl or a guy could be like, "Hey," and I'll sit there and be like, "Hey." Should I say a joke, or should I be like, "What's up?" No, but what's up is kind of weird. Should I just not text? Fuck, it's been 30 minutes since I haven't texted. It goes into a cycle.
Ghosted them.
She was like, yeah, but I get a creative mind, and like, you know, I go out there and I'm more funnier, I'm more myself. I'm like, I guess this shit is different for everybody.
Yeah,
because,
it is.
You know,
yeah.
she was like, you should start doing sativa more instead of indica.
Oh,
and I'm like, yo,
to...
I used to have a dealer that was like, you would never think customer service is a big thing when drug dealing, but it fucking is.
He knew
when I texted him,
and he would,
when I texted him, immediately he would be like, yes, you needed something. Same thing, same format, every conversation, every day, right? I'd be like, yes. I just need a dime or a dub. And he'd be like, sure, where are you located? And I'm like, Saraville. He's like, okay, meet me at Dunkin' Donuts. I go and get the shit, but before I do, I'm like, what strains do you have?
Yeah.
And he'll be like, I have this, this, and this. I go on Leafly, and I look it up, and I'll look up the different...
What, is that an app?
It's a site, dude. It's called, I don't know if it's Leafy or Leafly.
Okay.
Literally, dude, it breaks down that exact strain.
It sounds like wine, bro.
And it'll tell you this does
Body
euphoric
high.
for you. It tells you happiness. It gives you this. And then for the other stuff, the stuff I don't want, it'll say more relaxed, but then it'll say like, it'll be like paranoia. It'll be like sluggishness. It'll be like more lazy. And I'm like, okay, this is shit I don't want.
So
give me that other shit.
So if he tells you, so if you have the stuff that gives you the better effects, do you notice?
I text him and I'll say, I want this.
Okay.
And then when I do it, I swear to God, there was one time he gave me like some strain that said it was happy, euphoric, more energetic. I'm like, this is who I am. I want this shit. I swear to God, I was doing push-ups. And I was like on Snapchat, and I wasn't putting up the snap, but I was using the camera. I was just like checking myself out, right? Like, yo, you big. Do some more push-ups, right? But I realized, I was like, yo, this shit is on weed. And I'm like, doing push-ups. I want to go to the gym right now. I felt like I was on crack.
Right.
And but it didn't matter because it still hit me with the weed hangover at the end.
So what's the hangover at the end?
The hangover is I wake up in the morning and I'm sluggish.
Okay.
It's fucking nearly impossible to wake up. So what I started doing, and this is how serious it is, to the point where when I smoke, the next morning I have coffee on my table and I immediately lean over, even though I'm like half dead, I lean over, take a sip that energizes me to get up off of my bed.
Interesting.
It's dude, the shit, it just doesn't work for me.
What about
it's
water?
Not for me.
Water
doesn't do shit.
No?
That don't
Okay.
do shit, bro. That sluggishness is crazy. You know why though? Zuhair, the guy, the last podcast, he's telling me, he's like, do you know why you get that sluggishness? I was like, I don't know. He's like, have you ever noticed that, you know, some people, they get vivid dreams, but majority of the time you don't even dream because you don't remember them. It's because you don't go into REM sleep, your rapid eye movement. And if you skip that, that's your main point of getting rest. If you skip all that, which it does for weed, it literally feels like that's what happens. You literally wake up not feeling like you have any sleep.
So what's the remedy for that? What did he say? How do you get REM sleep?
He said there is no remedy. Literally, just some people just sleep fast asleep. Me, that's what I noticed is like some people when they smoke, they knock out.
Yeah.
Right? They do it to knock out. I knew a friend when I was working at Best Buy, he relied on it to sleep. Me, it keeps me up all night. It keeps me up. I'm watching TV for like 2 seconds. And I'm like, oh, I want to watch this Netflix show. I put on Killer Mike for like 30 seconds. I'm like, this is boring. I go to YouTube. This gets boring. I go to Pod. This is all in the span of 3 minutes. You know what I mean? And then that 3 minutes turns into 45 minutes. 3 hours. And then the next thing you know, it's 3 a.m. and I'm like, I still can't fucking sleep. Because I'm overthinking to even be able to sleep in the first place.
One of my favorite things was to just like get some bud and freaking put on a movie, order some food, eat that, either pass out during the movie or shortly thereafter the movie. But I was gonna say that maybe, I don't know if you might have known it, but you might do binaural beats. When you put in the AirPods and you have the two different frequencies playing in your ear.
Like white noise.
Kind of. To kind of help you get into that deeper sleep. Or
that shit helps.
Try melatonin. Okay. Yeah, melatonin. You could buy like at GNC or a Rite Aid or CVS, any place that sells like vitamin C and fish oil and all that stuff.
At this point, it's like, yo, I could do that, but then I started thinking, it's like, why do I even want to go through all that?
Or you could just like wean yourself off and not do it for like a month. I think what me and my friends used to do when I was a heavy pothead, like in my 20s, from like 21 to like 31.
Yeah.
I would for Lent. For Lent, we wouldn't smoke, which is 45 days, 45 nights. And like it gives your body a chance to kind of like shit gets real. Like you got to process the emotions that you have been like bottling down. Dude. And like the food, like it's actually like you have to actually have an appetite. So like the gym actually becomes a really key component in that time frame. And then like our girlfriends at the time, they were just like, maybe one day you guys will just quit. You'd be like, bitches, light up, Jesus, thank you, Jesus, thank you, Nuggle. You're the best.
Oh my God.
But like maybe you need something like that, where like you take like this space where you kind of just like cleanse, kind of like whatever it is that you.
But you obviously know the cravings, right? You know the
What?
cravings. No, I mean like I could go on like a binge of not doing it.
Yeah.
But then the cravings are fucking.
You
sick.
do.
You know,
but
and that
like
shit is so accessible. I think that's
willpower.
I think that's the biggest thing, right? That's the
Because-
whole reason why I'm not addicted to like.
Well, it's not addictive. THC and marijuana is not addictive. It's
But
really
mentally,
willpower.
though.
Yeah,
It's willpower,
Right,
yeah.
it's willpower.
I'll be honest with you. I don't have great willpower. Dude. I'm being serious. I don't
Aries,
have,
bro. Aries are impulsive, man.
They are impulsive too. I'm being serious. We are not good with willpower at all.
But that's something that's learned too. That's
Absolutely,
one thing I learned.
absolutely.
If you
I
can train
agree.
yourself, it's just
What's
really
getting me
wanting to.
through right now of not doing it is now my biggest con of why I shouldn't do it is like, yo, if you ever did this shit, you would not be able to put up motivational videos. You'd be so. I
see
I
what you
lose
mean.
I get lack of confidence or something like that. I'm
Yeah.
not myself. I'm not energetic. And when
Yeah.
I'm energetic, that's when the motivational videos come out.
Gotcha.
That's when I could show my face and smile. And you know what I mean? All right, we're back.
Hey.
That was stupid.
So
We talked about so much shit.
Akila's mad because what do we have a good
We had like
30
another
minutes?
30 minutes of content.
Yeah.
And I forgot what we were talking about anyway.
Yeah.
What does it
We're
matter?
just talking about drugs, man.
Yeah,
drugs and hippies.
Don't do them.
Yeah.
I mean, we came up with our name for the podcast.
Oh, yeah,
for the
that's what it
episode,
was.
For the
Yes,
episode, it's
yes.
the audacity of the CAUCASITY. Even though you white people are amazing, Shit, I'm really mad that we missed all that. Fuck
No, I feel like we were kind of the last freaking 30 minutes. We were just BSing.
Yeah.
But it didn't feel like BS though. It didn't feel like we were just. But that is a testament to just technology. Sometimes you just don't know when it's gonna cut out on you.
it. Exactly.
So maybe we could get an intern to oversee our technical.
You'd be surprised, man. I mean, a lot of my friends are always like, yeah, I'll record for you, but it's too boring for them. Because
Yeah.
they're not a part of the conversation.
Right.
They're stuck behind, sitting there and just
Right,
watching the
right.
video. So
So
I
maybe
wouldn't
we
be
could
I
find
wouldn't
a
be
way
mad
to
at you.
get them involved. There's a
Make
way.
my little sister do it? No, I'm kidding.
If we could think about what Joe Rogan does. He has a TV where he could pull stuff up. If he
But
could
even
show
he got
things.
somebody, though.
That's what I'm saying. We can get somebody like that. And get them involved in the conversation, which they do get involved in the conversation. Something to consider.
Something.
So
yeah.
yeah.
But shit, I mean, we'll end it. We're about to end it. But what you said about me being the next Joe Rogan
Yes.
is very flattering.
Yes.
Because everything he's doing right now is
basically
everything
do
that
it.
I want to do. The
You
man
want to do
just
some
loves to
stand up
talk.
too?
Oh God. I could.
Mm-hmm.
I just got to get over the hump of standing in front of 100 people or
Yeah, yeah.
50 people and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And knowing me, sometimes my jokes are out of the ordinary, or I'll do some stupid shit and I'll say some questionable shit.
Right.
And then I'll get really in the mood,
Yeah.
and I'll say some dumb shit, and then they're like, "Whoa,
Right.
what the fuck?"
Right.
And I'll be like, "Okay, fuck, all right, I'm off this." I feel like I won't be consistently funny.
I got something for you. There's actually a
much.
dude. I got to look into him because he's real cool, and he rocks with my man. What's my man? Master of None on Netflix.
Oh, Aziz Ansari.
Aziz, yeah. His name is Nimish Patel, and he's from Jersey too. Actually, you could tell the way he talks. He's from. He grew up in I want to say Passaic.
Okay.
But he was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and I listened to the full
3
podcast.
hours.
Yeah, and because I was doing Grubhub at the time, so
Yeah,
I was just driving,
yeah.
I got a 3 hour shift. Let's go. And he talks about when some jokes he said didn't land the way they were supposed to.
Yeah.
And there was a joke about gay people and black people. And it's I'll save it for if you want to go see it. If you want to go see it, I'll let you see it. But it basically was I know that gay is a choice because a black man wouldn't choose to be gay. Why would you double down on the hardship of already being black? So, so apparently he said that joke at NYU or Columbia or somewhere, and he basically got ushered off stage.
Yeah.
But he said he got that joke from a gay guy. He said the gay guy had said something. He's like, oh shit, this shit should be a bit. So
yeah, but that should work for the gay guy though. But
Right.
Why would he think that it was gonna work for him?
well, he said that he was. I'll let him tell the story.
Yeah,
the way
yeah,
he tells it
obviously,
is better and it's funny. It lands it differently. But the point is that at the end of the day they were talking about just writing. He's like, there's days I don't want. He wrote for SNL.
Yeah.
And then that's where he kind of got his acclaim. And then he's been doing stand up and been touring. But he just says that you gotta write. And they talk about writing jokes. And it was sometimes the jokes land. Sometimes he's like, I'll smoke. Joe Rogan's like, I'll smoke. I'll write jokes. And then I'll look at him sober and decide whether or not I still like him or not.
Yeah.
And that was something to think about. Like,
there's another guy, Hassan Minaj.
Yeah.
His
what's the show called?
He had a stand up.
Oh God, he has a show now, The Patriot Act.
Oh really?
On Netflix.
Oh
yeah. Think like Brown, Trevor Noah, John Oliver.
Oh.
Yeah, like he talks about like issues and breaks it down. He's a sneakerhead. It's cool. I like it. Yeah.
Yo, it's really weird though because some of the people that you would think would be funny, like Trevor Noah, stand up, he wasn't that great.
His first one,
like
was
I wasn't laughing like crazy. It's his Today Show that's more funnier than his stand up.
Yeah, his first one was funny, but also he also has writers too. Yeah.
Oh, who, Trevor Noah?
On the show.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
So they definitely gas you up.
That is true. That is true. Yeah. No,
when you have a team of writers, like, that's why like a lot of people like Conan O'Brien and like Jimmy Fallon, all those guys, they got teams.
Yeah, making it funny.
But they also are funny in their own right, which is how they got into that position.
Exactly.
So
yeah, that is true.
Look at that. We're starting a new podcast.
Yeah, look at that.
No, we gotta go. We gotta go. I have a girlfriend waiting for me, and she's probably... I'm hungry, and she got food for me. So.
Yeah. Look, thank you for being on the podcast.
Course, bro. Thank you for having me.
This. Oh, absolutely. Yes. Anytime. You can be on here anytime. I love talking on this podcast.
Thank you.
It's what I love to do. Yeah, man. Maybe in the next 5 to 10 years, you could find me doing this podcast. You could find me doing my own Netflix special, movie, TV show.
Hey.
Write my own book.
Hey.
All of that shit. Anything that has to do with me talking in general.
What if Netflix was starting to like just air podcasts? That would be fire.
That would be pretty cool. I wouldn't see why they wouldn't start that with like Joe Rogan.
30 minutes.
Because Joe Rogan's podcast is its own fucking show.
It is.
It's literally a show.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, absolutely. The audacity of the CAUCASITY. All right.
Season your chicken, white people.
If you've gotten this far, 2-3 hours into it, you obviously have to follow now.
Stop
because
calling
you guys
the cops
love
on
us.
people.
You either love our faces or you love to hear us talk. But yeah, this is a Akil Nova show, aka No Comment.
Yes.
And thanks for listening or watching.
Freshly Snipes on Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter. Find me. I'll follow back. We love you, Erica. Fatty Bella.
Peace out.
Peace.